Flutie was a dominant player at Boston College, a Heisman Trophy winner, a star. His brother Darren was dependable, but understandably overshadowed. When Doug came to the BC Lions, he made headlines again, and once again overshadowed his brother. And when Doug took his MVP act to Calgary and won a Grey Cup with the Stampeders, he was the CFL's unquestioned superstar, while his brother endured the ups and downs of playing for a rebuilding BC team. But then 2 years ago, this clutch catch on the final play of the Western Final sent the Lions to the Grey Cup and allowed Darren to emerge from his brother's shadow. Last month, Mr. Clutch struck again as Flutie broke Calgary hearts with this catch on the final play of the game to beat the Stampeders. And then, facing his former BC teammates 2 weeks ago, Flutie put on a clinic. 6 catches, 160 yards, and 3 spectacular touchdowns. Today, Flutie meets his former team again. November's coming. The playoffs are near. The two Flutie brothers are bona fide CFL stars in their own right, chasing a prize only one of them can win. From the stadium at BC Place, TSN presents the Eskimos and the Lions.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the CFL Live on TSN. I'm Darren Detition. We are glad you joined us for tonight's football game between the Edmonton Eskimos and the BC Lions. Let me introduce you to our panel. To my right, it's Marty York, columnist for the Globe and Mail. Les Brown to his right, and the wideout spot, it is the coach, Obi. Obi, let's start with you. The Edmonton Eskimos, we know their defense is outstanding. They lead 12 defensive categories in the Canadian Football League, but there are a couple of changes back there heading into tonight's football game.
And I think the most notable there is that Senior Mobley's not starting. They're using Maurice Miller as a outside linebacker on the depth chart, which means their flexibility in some of those coverages that Edmonton likes to use may not be quite the same tonight. And then Reggie Pleasant, interestingly enough, an old Argo, he's going to start at free safety for Trent Brown. And last week after their game, we talked a lot about Shalom Baker. Now he's back in the lineup at wideout. And BC has 2 key players out of the lineup. Tyrone Chapman, their leading tackler on defense, and Sean Millington, their great fullback, won't be playing tonight, and Blackwood will take his place.
Still for the Edmonton Eskimos, so they still have Willie, they still have Mal Hunter, they still have Glenn Rogers Jr., all CFL leaders in their own respective categories. It's going to be tough for the BC Lions tonight, unless you say this is a must-win for the Leos.
Well, I think it's a must-win for BC for sure, because they have to get some fan support back in BC to get the ownership that they they don't know who is going to be their owner yet. Well, they do, but they haven't mentioned a name yet, so that's going to hurt them a bit. But you know what? They definitely have to get a win under their belt today. But it's going to be difficult because, like he said, their defense is mighty tough, but it's going to be a different game than what we saw before because it's going to be played on turf, and Damon Allen can move on turf.
Well, you know what, Les? I talked to a few of the Lions this week, and they said that the only way they think they can beat the Eskimos is if Damon Allen does run a lot. He has to run the ball just as Tracy Ham did last week when he beat the Eskimos, and I think that's a key. Keep in mind that the Eskimos have beaten the Lions by an aggregate score of 60-26 in 2 previous games.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos are outstanding. BC is still alive mathematically at 4-10 on the season. The playoffs, though, very, very improbable. For his thoughts on tonight's football game, let's head out to BC. Here is Gord Miller.
Darren, how thin is the BC Lions' margin of error? Well, there is no margin of error for the Lions anymore. As we look at the standings entering this week, the Lions have 8 points. They can still catch Winnipeg. They can still catch Hamilton. The problem is they can't lose another game, and they have to hope that either Winnipeg or Hamilton don't win again. And joining me once again is Glenn Suter. Glenn, for the BC Lions, who is it easier to catch, Winnipeg or Hamilton?
Well, I think for the BC Lions, their best chance is to catch Hamilton. They have to hope that Hamilton loses all their 3 games. They play Winnipeg next, then Hamilton has Montreal and Toronto, all 3 tough teams.
But also, the BC Lions have to worry about their games. They have to win all of them, starting with the game against Edmonton today. 2 weeks ago at Commonwealth Stadium, the Eskimos hammered them 32-12. Darren Flutie had 3 touchdown catches, 160 yards receiving in that game. The Lions believe it'll be a different story. Matt Clark told us before the game the biggest difference will be what's under BC's feet, or more importantly, what's not under their feet.
Well, this week they're on the turf here in BC Place Stadium, and 2 weeks ago, 2 of Darren Flutie's 3 touchdowns were direct results of Lion defensive backs slipping. So that'll be a difference tonight.
And don't tell the Edmonton Eskimos, though, that playing under the dome is a disadvantage. They've won their last 7 regular season games here. Darren?
Thanks very much, gentlemen. The Edmonton Eskimos getting ready to play some football. Remember, with TSN, you're always live and interactive. You can play QB1 with tonight's game. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the opening kickoff. Stay tuned.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by Corel, world leader in CD-ROM technology.
Welcome back to the stadium at BC Place. I'm Gord Miller along with Glenn Suter. A big night of action here on TSN that will include Formula One racing from Japan a little later tonight. But right now our focus is on football. Ron Lancaster's Edmonton Eskimos have a chance to post their 12th consecutive season with 10 or more wins, and his next win will tie Ron Lancaster with his boss, Hugh Campbell, with 70 wins, the most in Edmonton's history. His former understudy and offensive coordinator, Joe Powell, patrols the sidelines for the BC Lions. The Lions enter this game at 4-10. The best they can finish this season is 8-10. And that might yet get them in the playoffs. But as we mentioned in the opening, their margin of error is down to nothing. Julio Caravata kicks it off, and Eric Blunt takes it for Edmonton at the 14-yard line. And dives ahead to the 45-yard line. Check that. That was Henry Williams on the kickoff return. The Gizmo gets out to the 45, a return of 26 yards, and Danny McManus brings the offense out for Edmonton. The starting lineup brought to you by Corral. Danny McManus has thrown a league-leading 20 interceptions this year, but only Doug Flutie and Jeff Garcia have passed for more yards this season. He's joined by Shalon Baker, who returns to the Edmonton receiving corps after missing 4 games with injury. Burse and Blunt in the backfield. Eric Blunt is just 84 yards away from a 1,000-yard rushing season. McManus, the former Lion, in the shotgun on first down, sends it out to the wide side of the field looking for Mark Tolbert. That pass falls incomplete. So Danny McManus, Darren Flutie, and others return to the sites of their former glory, and it, of course, was in this stadium in 1994 that Danny McManus and the BC Lions won the Grey Cup.
Yeah, and it was the big Western final in Calgary that McManus found Darren Flutie for that winning touchdown. And of course, 2 weeks ago, they hooked up for a pretty big day against the BC Lions when we already talked about it. Flutie had 160 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns in that game.
Now, 2nd and 10 for the Lions, and you can bet in 2nd and long that this guy will get a long look. And McManus once again in the shotgun. Finds Eddie Brown over the middle, and Eddie Brown into BC territory, still going, gets down to the Lions' 45-yard line. A pickup of 20 yards for Eddie Brown, one of 4 receivers in the Canadian Football League with 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, what's impressive about Eddie Brown is his average is 19.8 yards. He's up at the top of the screen right here, just going to come across the middle. Now, Tom Europe has a chance to take his head off, but Eddie Brown has good speed and good upper body strength and just fends off the hit right there and picks up some extra yards.
First down for the Eskimos. And their first running play is to the fullback, Tony Burse. And Burse gets ahead for a couple of yards as he's stopped by this tough BC defense.
Well, a couple of changes for that defense. Joe Fleming will replace Johnny Scott up front. He's joined by Dave Chaters and Tyrone Rogers. In the linebacking core, it's David Mieva, Shelton Quarles. Armani Johnson replaces Tyrone Chapman and Virgil Robertson. And in the secondary, it's Reggie Carthon and Brandon Hamilton at the corners. Kelly Sims, Andre Strode at halfbacks, and Tom Europe is the safety.
2nd and 8. There's lots of time looking deep for Eddie Brown, and Brown watched step for step by defensive back Reggie Carthon. Watches the pass fall incomplete.
Well, I asked Joe Palpal what he thought about Eddie Brown's year, and he said, you know what, he reminds me of the Roadrunner. When you run by, it's like beep beep, he's gone. And this guy's got tremendous speed. Obviously the deep threat for the Edmonton Eskimos, but in that particular play, Reggie Carthon had pretty good coverage on him.
Having trouble finding the end zone lately, though. Eddie Brown does not have a touchdown catch in his last 6 games. Vancouver native Sean Fleming will come on to try the field goal. This try will come from 51 yards out. Fleming has not missed from outside the 50 this year. He's 2 for 2 on the long ones. Glenn Harper, the punter, is his holder. And Corey Philpott is back in case he misses. Fleming has lots on it and puts it through. The Edmonton Eskimos score on their opening possession. Sean Fleming with a 51-yard field goal, and Edmonton has a 3-0 lead on the BC Lions. You sound hollow.
I know, it doesn't sound right. It sounds like hollow or
okay
echo
now.
or something.
You sound okay now. You sound. Do I sound hollow to you?
No, you sound.
Hi, Bert. Damon Allen, who began his Canadian Football League career with the Edmonton Eskimos, gets set for his team's first offensive possession. And Allen with 12 touchdown passes on the year, has 2,200 yards passing. And remember, he joined the Lions 6 games into the season. This team likes to run the ball more than throw it, and it's reflected in the fact that the Lions are near the bottom third in league categories in almost every passing department.
Boy, the talk around BC about Damon Allen, if he was here from the beginning of the season, they really believe they would have 2 more victories right now.
And, of course, a lot of people talking about the close losses on the road. 4 of their 5 road losses have been by a total of 7 points. From the 35-yard line, the give goes off to Corey Philpott, and Philpott dives out across the 40 to the 43-yard line. A pickup of 7 yards for a sometimes forgotten man in the BC offensive backfield. Mike Trevathan leads the receiving corps. He had 7 catches in the last meeting against Edmonton. Ted Alford, Matt Clark, and Larry Thompson join him. Paul Blackwood in for Sean Millington at fullback. Millington out with a knee injury this week. And Corey Mantica rejoins the offensive line, but will be in and out. Gary Zawaski will spell him off at time. On second down, the toss goes to Philpott, and Philpott gets through that tough Edmonton defense. Larry Ruck stacks him up, but not before Philpott crosses midfield and gets down to the Edmonton 53-yard line. Corey Philpott does not have a rushing touchdown for the BC Lions. In fact, this coming a year after he set the CFL record with 22 touchdowns scored a year ago.
Yeah, I asked him about that, and he said, you know, it's different scheme this year, and when they get down, when the BC Lions get down into what they call the green zone or inside that 15-yard line, the ball's in Sean Millington's hands, who's not in the lineup tonight, of course, but Corey Philpott just isn't getting the football when they're in scoring distance, and that's why he has not had those touchdowns this year.
His only touchdown this season came receiving the ball.
Now you also look at his numbers being down, but Philpott averages 5.9 a carry, which is number 1 in the top 5 running backs in the league.
Back on a face masking call against Edmonton. The Lions have the ball down to the 38-yard line. And Philpott leaves the field, so Ronald Williams comes in for BC, and Williams, who averages 6 yards a carry, picks up about 5 there.
Well, we may get a chance to see both Ronald Williams and Corey Philpott in the same backfield tonight. With Sean Millington out, Joe Palpal has the option to play his designated import on the defensive side of the ball, and for this game, that designated import is Maurice Kelly. So then he could put Corey Philpott and Ronald Williams in the backfield together, which would be a great 1-2 punch for the BC Lions.
Ron Lancaster looks on as the Lions have 2nd and 4. The toss goes back to Williams, and Williams runs headlong into Larry Ruck and Jed Roberts, who stop him short of a BC first down. The pickup is 2.
Well, a couple of changes for that Edmonton defense. They practiced a 34 this week. That's 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. Melvin Hunter will play some linebacker. That's because Singor Mobley is out. Maurice Miller, number 45, replaces Mobley on the roster, but Hunter will actually play some linebacker. The other change for Edmonton is in the secondary, where Reggie Pleasant, the veteran corner, will play free safety for the injured Trent Brown. The question is, will the pass rush be a little bit different for Edmonton in this game?
Lou Pasaglia to try the field goal from 37 yards out, and We're tied at 3 with 10:14 to play in the first quarter. Joe Paopao has seen his team go through ups and downs this year. His team is 0-6 when trailing at the half. So getting the lead early is imperative for his club.
You know, he's also the most penalized team in the league, and I asked him about that, and he said, you know, it's funny, when you look at our penalty record, the second most penalized team in the whole league, but the 4 wins that we have on the season, we've had our most penalties in those 4 wins. We average 15 when we win, we average 11 a game when we lose. I'm not sure what to tell the guys anymore.
Well, we talked about what has to happen for other teams. Here's who the Lions have remaining on their schedule. In Saskatchewan next week, a game we'll have for you on TSN. In Toronto, a tough game for them. And then home against the Ottawa Roughriders. The Lions cannot lose another game.
No, and we talked about in the opening how one of the 2 teams, Winnipeg or Hamilton, has to lose, and Hamilton has a tough schedule. They play Winnipeg, Toronto, and Montreal.
And the Montreal Alouettes, storming in the last few weeks, certainly handed the Edmonton Eskimos a decisive loss last week. Julio Carabato will kick it off. Eric Blunt and Henry Williams are back deep to receive the kickoff. And they're kicking it to the gizmo again. Henry Williams from the 25-yard line. Williams reverses his tracks and fights his way out to the 35-yard line. A 10-yard kickoff return. So former Lion Danny McManus goes back to work here, and Danny Mac gets criticized a lot for the interceptions. He threw 26 of them last year for the BC Lions, but look at this. In his first 7 games, he threw 13. The last 7, he has thrown only 7. And in fact, he has thrown only 2 interceptions in his last 4 games.
Yeah, he's really been playing well, Gordon. I mean, I think back to the game against the BC Lions 2 weeks ago, and Danny McManus left and just before the first half, but before he did, he was completing 73% of his passes and had 2 touchdowns. He was hot, and he's been hot lately.
On first down, the give goes off to Eric Blunt, and Blunt gets a yard, if anything, as he's stacked up quickly by the Lions. Eric Blunt in the last game against BC had 18 carries for 46 yards. That works out to a 2.6-yard average, and his longest gain was 8. The Lions did a good job containing Edmonton's ground game.
And how important is it for Edmonton to have Eric Blunt rushing the ball? Well, when they win in their 9 victories, they've had close to 100-yard rushing, 98 to be exact. In their 6 losses, 55 yards rushing. So very important for Eric Blunt to be involved in this offense in Edmonton.
Second and long from the shotgun. McManus to the sidelines and almost intercepted by Reggie Carthon. The pass was intended for Eddie Brown, but Carthon, the former Shreveport Pirate, almost stole one there.
Well, he had 4 in BC last year, and boy, when you throw that out, it has to be perfect timing. Here he is right here. He's just going to time it up perfectly, and he actually gets both hands on this ball. Watch him come out of his break. Good acceleration. Gets both hands. Gets the knockdown, but I tell you what, he wanted the interception there and should have had it. It would have been his first of the season.
Glenn Harper back to punt for Edmonton, the CFL's most used punter. Edmonton has punted the ball more than any team in the league.
Hands.
Ted Alford is back deep to receive a good kick that goes down to the 20-yard line. Alford trying to get outside, but Don Blair runs him down. Don Blair, the rookie out of the University of Calgary, makes a great special teams play, a 55-yard punt and a loss of 9 on the return. At the University of Calgary, Don Blair was the Heck Crichton Trophy winner last year, the Vanier Cup MVP, but in the CFL, you got to play special teams.
And what a great special teams tackle it was. Don Blair has great speed, got down the field, and it seems like every play he's made for Edmonton has been a big play. And his first catch as a CFL receiver was last week in Montreal, went for 35 yards.
Lions now start at their own 11-yard line. Allen back quickly. Wants a bunch, has a man, Matt Clark, but the pass is well out of his reach. Well covered by Derek Beatty.
He didn't know the ball was thrown. He didn't know the ball was coming to him. He ran down the field like he was the decoy, and Damon Allen had thrown it up to his outside shoulder. And you can see that Matt Clark was just right here. He's going down the seam and doesn't realize that the ball's been thrown to him. He thinks he's the decoy. He keeps running the balls in the air right now. He doesn't realize it till it hits the turf.
You saw him shrug on the way back to the huddle to Damon Allen. Sorry, bud, I owe you one.
Hey, we drew that up in practice. I was the decoy.
2nd and 10 for the Lions. Allen wants to go deep again. Same play. Clark just out of his reach, and Beatty that time got some help on the coverage from Glenn Rogers, but same play for the Lions.
Well, it's interesting to see that 2 plays in a row. The BC Lions go over the middle. Trent Brown is out with a bad knee. Reggie Pleasant is playing free safety, and Matt Clark will try and take advantage of Pleasant's inexperience at the safety position. He's a great corner, has 47 interceptions in his time, but he always played corner. And he's in the middle, and BC Lions are trying to attack that middle.
Lou Pasaglia back to punt. Henry Williams is back deep to receive the kick, along with Don Blair. Edmonton leads the league in punt return yards. And both Blair and Williams have punt returns for touchdowns, which may explain why Pasaglia is aiming for the sidelines, and the punt bounces back towards the Lions and goes out of bounds at the BC 38-yard line. The Edmonton Eskimos will have great field position after just a 27-yard punt by Lou Pasaglia.
Well, Joe Palpal talked to Lou Pasaglia about his punting, and he's been on that sideline with, like, Danny McManus and Gizmo Williams, and he knows what Gizmo can do, so he won't punt him the ball.
Well, what do? You got to pick between Blair and Williams, and ask the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Both those guys return punts against them for touchdowns. Well, a great place for the Eskimos to start this drive at the BC 38-yard line. McManus has time, has Eric Blunt, but Blunt had Virgil Robertson all over him, and Robertson, a much bigger man at 6'2", 230 pounds, ran step for step with Eric Blunt.
Well, you know, that's pretty good speed to the outside for Virgil Robertson, but he does have good quickness. That's why they like to put him in that rush end position, because of his size at 225, but he also runs about a 4.5, 4.6 40, and he can get after that. Quarterback has 3 sacks on the season.
And has an interception return for a touchdown this year.
Yeah, he's a good athlete.
On second down, McManus will go to the shotgun. Here comes the rush. McManus gets it away, almost intercepted. He was looking out there for Blunt again. One more heartbeat, and Andre Strode would still be running the other way.
Well, that's twice now. Reggie Carthon had his chance on a pick on the sideline when Eddie Brown ran an out pattern. This time it was Blunt just running out in the flat. Number 35, you see him, and Andre Strode reads it in the zone defense perfectly, and had he taken a little bit better angle, he's gone.
Andre Strode has an interception return for a touchdown as well this year for the Lions. Danny McManus' last 4 passes have fallen incomplete, and Sean Fleming will come on to try a 45-yard field goal. Fleming is 21 for 24 on the season. And from 45 yards out, lots on it, and it is good. Sean Fleming is 2 for 2, and the Edmonton Eskimos have a 6-3 lead on the BC Lions. The CFL Live returns to Vancouver right after this. BC Lion quarterbacks have thrown 17 touchdown passes this year, 7 of them to this man, Mike Trevathan. So everyone else has to split 10. And Trevathan once again leads this team in receiving.
Sorry, I was going to say all 7 from Damon Allen. You think he was pretty happy when number 9 showed up in BC? I guess so.
And despite a rough ride from the Edmonton Eskimos, he had 7 catches for 60 yards in the last meeting. Edmonton tried to intimidate him physically, and it just didn't happen.
Can't do it. They don't come any tougher.
On first down, Allen has time, has a man, and he is swamped by Reggie Pleasant, but Matt Clark, 3rd time lucky, has the catch. You'll recall on BC's last offensive possession, Matt Clark had 2 passes thrown his way that fell incomplete.
Yeah, he went over the middle both times on that possession. Reggie Pleasant will be played a little differently than Trent Brown is in the Edmonton defense. Pleasant will come down low like we saw him on that last Matt Clark catch, a lot more than Trent Brown did. He'll play a little more man-to-man than Trent plays.
And last year when he wasn't playing football, Reggie Pleasant worked for an engineering firm. And what did they do? They built the Olympic Stadium in Atlanta. But he didn't get free tickets. Second down, Damon Allen has that pass tipped, incomplete, looking for Ronald Williams, who was well covered by Willie Pless, and a frustrated Damon Allen will go back to the BC sideline.
He didn't get free tickets?
No. Surprisingly enough, the Olympic Committee is very tough with the tickets. I'm amazed.
Wow. Here's Maurice Miller off the edge. He's going to take off. They're playing that 34 defense. Miller is in for Singor Mobley. He's going to come off the edge and actually gets his finger on this pass from Damon Allen and deflects it behind Ronald Williams.
Maurice Miller in place, as you mentioned, of the injured Singor Mobley. This Edmonton defense very complicated, and Maurice Miller has to be a quick study playing a new position. Bisaglia almost had it blocked, now throwing it and has it complete. Trevor Shaw has the catch. A flag is down, and Shaw is into Edmonton territory at the 38-yard line. That couldn't have been a to Trevor Shaw, but there's a flag down. And you got to think, since this wasn't a design play, it's got to be ineligible man downfield or something like that. It's a 33-yard gain if it stands. Dave Ewell is the referee, and yes, it is ineligible man downfield for the BC Lions.
Well, it wasn't a design call. We'll get the call right here.
Ineligible receiver, BC number 86. Third down repeated.
So that was Trevor Shaw's problem. He wasn't allowed to be down there.
Well,
he wasn't expecting to run a pass back.
No, I mean, this is not a design play, but Louis Pasaglia has to pull it down or it gets blocked off the edge. Now, when he does, everyone is already down the field. All the offensive line and personal protectors for Louis, they're all already down the field. That's why it's ineligible receiver, and he can't throw that pass.
Trevor Shaw, by the way, joined the BC Lions midway through the season and helped them win the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup, you ask? Well, Trevor Shaw's a Canadian, and the Americans played the Canadians in golf matches, and Trevor Shaw's 84 tipped the balance for the Canadian guys.
Way to go, Trevor. 84, not bad.
You cut off fingers to shoot 84. Don Blair takes the punt at his 45-yard line, and Blair dives across midfield. Shelton Quarles throws him down, but not before Blair gets to the 53-yard line. A 37-yard punt and a return of 11 for Don Blair out of the University of Calgary. One of the great players ever to play CIAU football.
Certainly is. And you think about what he did in 1995 at Calgary, when he had 1,100 yards in 8 games. When you average that out per game, that's 139 yards receiving per game. That's amazing.
Even more remarkable to me, he was the Vanier Cup MVP when everyone knew that they'd be looking to him. I mean, you could triple cover this guy and he would still get open.
Yeah, he's got great speed.
Given the Eskimos good field position, Danny McManus hooks up with Darren Flutie for the first time. And Flutie gets down to the 48-yard line for a pickup of 4.
Speaking of knowing who the go-to guy is, you think the BC Lions watched some game film on this guy and decided we better cover him this week?
It's his time of the year, too. Think of Darren Flutie. In his last 4 playoff games, he's caught 5 touchdown passes. It's getting to be that time of the year when Darren Flutie is at his best.
Absolutely. I looked at his playoff numbers, and in his playoff games, he averages almost 120 yards a game. When the games mean the most, he comes up with the big plays.
McManus had that pass tipped, and Shalon Baker makes the catch. They'll mark him down at the 43-yard line, very close to an Edmonton first down. Baker, as we mentioned, missed the last 4 games with injuries, and he was fortunate to make this catch.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It looked like maybe Shelton Quarles. No, it was actually Sims coming off the outside. Kelly Sims who gets his hands on it. Luckily for Shalon Baker, the ball kept going and comes up with the catch.
The Rookie of the Year in the Canadian Football League a year ago.
Well, you know, he missed 4 games, but only 2 of them were due to injury. Ron Lancaster felt that Jim Sandusky provided a stabilizing factor in that receiving core and left him in for a couple more games, but now he feels like Shalon Baker can make the big play for him, so Baker's back in the lineup.
See Ron Lancaster talking to Cody Ledbetter, the backup quarterback, who saw action in the last game against BC when Danny McManus was shaken up in the first half. Ledbetter was 4 for 10 passing for a touchdown.
He's got a pretty good record in relief, Danny McManus.
I think he's 2-0, isn't he?
Well, he's
as
played,
a reliever.
As a reliever, he's 2-0. In the games he's played, he's 2-3. That's not bad.
Baker did get a first down, and the give goes off to Eric Blunt, and Blunt trying to get around the corner, does so, and gets inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. A 9-yard gain with a trail of BC Lions in his wake. Eric Blunt enters this game 2nd in the league in rushing to Robert Mims of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
He needs 84 yards in this game to reach the 1,000-yard mark, and the last Eskimo to do that was Reggie Taylor back in 1991. Eric Blunt would likely, if he has a good game tonight, be the first Eskim since 91 to do it.
The give goes off to Burst, the fullback, on 2nd and short. And Tony Burst dives ahead and has an Edmonton Eskimo first down.
Interesting story about Tony Burst. I asked him about last week because I heard he was real late for the plane. Well, he told me he got there just as the doors were closing. I said, well, what happened? He said, well, my buddy Eric Blunt was supposed to pick me up. Forgot about me. So he says I had about 45 minutes and a 40-minute cab ride to get there. I almost made it. I says, is that going to affect your game? He said, no, I'll still block for him.
Well, look out. Eric Blunt almost lost that handoff, and as it is, Dives across to the 28-yard line. The pickup is just a couple, and Blunt almost lost the handle.
Well, I'll tell you what, the play, right as we talk about the story, Tony Burst makes a pretty nice block. Watch 34 pick up David Mieva coming on the blitz. That gives Blunt just enough time to grab the handle of that football and pick up a couple of yards. So they're still friends.
The Edmonton Eskimos have lost only 8 fumbles this year, second fewest in the Canadian Football League. Second and long. McManus has time, looks to the end zone, wide open, Eddie Brown, touchdown! Eddie Brown's first touchdown catch in 7 games.
Well, it was a bust in the BC Lions secondary, and they're huddling up at the 10-yard line right now, kind of talking about it because Eddie Brown was wide open. Joe Palpal can't figure out why, but it looked to me like Reggie Carthon was in the flat. There are 2 defensive backs in the short zone in the cover 3. You see Tom Europe up there. Reggie Carthon was also short, as was Brandon Hamilton. No one in the deep coverage. Eddie Brown recognized it. So did Danny McManus. 6 points as a result.
What's up, Mitch? What's up, Bub? What's up, Ronnie? Love y'all.
15th touchdown pass of the year for Danny McManus, and Eddie Brown has the score to give the Edmonton Eskimos a 12-3 lead and make that 13-3 as Sean Fleming puts the point after up and good. Now you say cover 3, that means 3 deep.
That's right, that means a 3 deep zone, but in that particular play, the Lions only had 2 deep.
Cover 2/3.
In what should have been the 3 deep zone, and it was Brandon Hamilton who was the guy who's supposed to be deep. Here's Brandon Hamilton. Here's Andre Strode. Andre Strode has the flat. Hamilton's supposed to be deep. Hamilton comes up short. You see him stop his feet. He doesn't get in the deep zone. They both play the same zone defense. Eddie Brown gets in behind the coverage, touchdown. You cannot make the mistake when you're in the secondary or the scoreboard lights up.
And Eddie Brown saying, I just beat the guy.
See, I just ran by him. And you can run, but you can say that when you're about 2 yards behind a guy. When you're 10 yards, there's got to be some kind of mistake.
And you give a veteran quarterback like Danny McManus a mistake like that, his eyes will get like silver dollars.
Well, yeah, I mean, any quarterback in the league, really. We always used to joke with the linebackers and defensive linemen from the secondary, say, you guys make a mistake and we can make up for it. They do it. And there's Hugh Campbell talking to him about it.
Danny says, how many touchdown passes do I have to get to make my bonus? He says, I don't know. It's a lot, though. Sean Fleming kicks it off. This is Corey Philpott from the 18-yard line. Corey Philpott has a seam that gets out across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Malcolm Frank made the stop on Corey Philpott. So Danny McManus, using good field position, engineers an easy Edmonton touchdown drive and is now 4 for 9 passing in the game. And the always affable Danny McManus, whether things are going poorly or well, has the same expression. It's 6 plays, 53 yards, and it's capped off by an Eddie Brown 28-yard touchdown catch. All that set up by Don Blair's great play on special teams to hem the Lions in deep. Now on first down, Corey Philpott out across the 50, gets close to midfield. A shoestring tackle is made by Willie Pless. A pickup of 11, and Willie Pless adds to his league-leading total of tackles.
Yeah, Willie Pless, amazingly, I mean, he's leading the CFL in all-time tackles, but you know what? He's not leading the Edmonton Eskimos in all-time tackles. Larry Ruck.
Yeah, strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
By the way, Willie Pless, if he's named the Defensive Player of the Year of the Canadian Football League this year, would win it for the 4th time. No one's ever done that in the CFL.
Well, he's definitely got to be a candidate.
But the competition comes from his teammates, so that'll be tough. On first down, they give it off over the middle to Ronald Williams, and that swarming Eskimo defense gets there quickly. Malvin Hunter, Derek McCready, and others were there. It's a loss of a yard.
Yeah, Derek McCready made the play. I mean, that nose guard's usually fighting off double teams. Derek McCready has replaced Glenn Scribner early in the season. Here he is right here. He just gets great penetration and just snuffs out this play before it gets started. You see him get right in the backfield. Ron Williams has no chance to make any moves or get to the outside because of that penetration.
Second and long, just what the Eskimos like to see. They lead the league in quarterback sacks with 64. And Allen's under pressure, in trouble, gets it away. And it is almost intercepted, but not by Camus Reed. That would have tied him for the league lead in interceptions with Al Jordan of Calgary and his teammate Glenn Rogers, and Reed knows he probably should have had that one.
Well, yeah, Cavis Reed will always play to the wide side of the field for the Edmonton Eskimos. They flopped their corners, Malcolm Frank and Cavis Reed. Now, when you're on the wide side of the field, the ball takes a lot longer to get out there on that out pattern. Damon Allen throws it kind of high. Cavis Reed had a chance, just couldn't come up with a catch.
Give the Edmonton Eskimo front credit, though. Damon Allen, under all kinds of pressure, had to deliver that ball before he wanted to. And Pasaglia once again will punt. Laren Williams back deep to receive.
Hands, hands, hands.
Good kick by Pasaglia. Gizmo from the 11 and gets out to about the 17-yard line. The stop was made quickly by the Lions, Mark Pimister. So the Edmonton Eskimos, on the strength of an Eddie Brown touchdown, have a 13-3 lead on the BC Lions as the first quarter comes to a conclusion. We'll be back with the second in a moment, but right now let's send you back to our CFL Live Control Center.
CFL Live at the Quarter, brought to you by Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
Now, Gord Miller had made the point that Damon Allen was under pressure. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos are going to bring pressure. They have 64 sacks going into this game, best in the Canadian Football League, 18 more than any other team. But you're talking about, Les Brown, about the intensity of the BC Lions in their offense. You don't think it's there tonight?
Well, you know what? If they have a chance at the playoffs, they should come out and play like every game is a playoff game, and I don't see that happening with their offense right now. Their defense is playing really heads up, but their offense needs to sharpen up a bit.
Heads up except for the touchdown pass, and there was a blown coverage there, though. That
I was just going to say, that wasn't too heads up.
Yeah, but you know they've been controlling them the whole game except for that one play, and you're going to have a busted coverage every now and then.
Yep. You know what I don't understand? I mean, the Lions saw last week that the Eskimos were beaten by Montreal because Tracy Ham mixed up the pass with his own running ability. Damon Allen is the best running quarterback in CFL history. He didn't even attempt to run, not even once. And I mean, he went against his own game plan. He's got to do that at times. And I don't know what's gotten into Damon Allen, but for the last 3-4 weeks, he has not played well.
That's true, Marty. I think the key thing is that he's just not passing the ball with the effectiveness. In tonight's game, it just looks like he's not into a rhythm yet. And sometimes, you know, I think Coach Pawpaw calls all their plays from the sidelines, but if you want Damon to run, call a quarterback draw or an option player, something like that, and make him run it.
Yeah, get him outside so that something can happen.
And then try and get something going.
And if you recall, when Damon Allen led the Eskimos to the Grey Cup, that's why they won the Grey Cup. In those last 8 games that regular season, he ran like the wind.
That's right.
Well, you know, in most defenses, the quarterback's not really covered. So he has a chance to make something happen. And as Tracy Ham, you know, figured it out later in the season, and he's starting to make things happen for Montreal.
You know what, though? I would be hard-pressed to jump all over Damon Allen.
Yeah, really.
He is the second leading passer in the Canadian Football League when it comes to his completion ratio. The only man that he is behind is Doug Flutie. He'll get the ball there. We'll see if they can get it done. Remember, they're playing against a very, very, very good defense, guys. Let's return to BC Place for the second quarter.
And he has to run.
Thanks very much, Darren. The BC Lions trail the Edmonton Eskimos 13-3 as we begin the second quarter. The Eskimos have the ball at their own 13-yard line. Their worst drive start of the game so far, but that's improving rapidly as Eric Flynn gets around the corner and gets out to the 27-yard line. Pickup of 9, and here are the numbers through the opening quarter. The BC Lions had 4 yards passing in the first quarter and 46 net. And the Edmonton Eskimos had 76. 28 of them came on the touchdown pass from Danny McManus to Eddie Brown.
And I agree with what the studio panel was talking about at the quarter time there. Damon Allen needs to run more for the BC Lions for this offense to be successful. That's how Montreal beat Edmonton last week.
On second and short, Tony Burse gets the carry. David Mava wraps him up with the help of Joe Fleming, but Burse should have an Edmonton first down.
Well, I asked Tony Burse about playing the BC Lions. He said, you know, everyone talks about them being a small team, little defensive backs. They play with sometimes 6 and 7 defensive backs on the field, but he said, I felt real sore after that game 2 weeks ago. It took me a couple days to get out of bed, and he said that they are a hard-hitting football team defensively, and looks forward to the challenge today.
And Burse does get the first down. The Eskimos have the ball at their own 29-yard line. McManus, quick drop, and has it complete. And look out, a big hit by Tom Europe on Shalon Baker. Now Europe wants to pick a fight with Chris Morris. He might be better advised to stick with Shalon Baker and stay away from Morris.
Tom Europe's a tough guy, but I don't like the mismatch there. Chris Morris, what, close to 3 bills? And Tom as well, he's not quite 200 pounds, so.
He's an investment counselor now. You know what he was yelling at Chris Morris? Municipal bonds! That's what he was saying.
Not bad advice, I guess, right?
Sure. Game was 9 and second and short. And the give goes off to Blunt. Eric Blunt has the first down as he gets up to the 40-yard line. Submarine there by Robert Davis and the aforementioned Tom Europe.
Well, I mean, this is the key for any offense when you talk about first down production, and right now the Edmonton Eskimos are winning that battle for first down production. Tom Europe and this BC Lion defense have to play better on first down and get the Edmonton Eskimos into some second and long situations.
First and 10 for the Eskimos at their own 40-yard line, and McManus to the shotgun. Good protection, and McManus has a man wide open. Completes a Mark Tobert who gets out of bounds up at the 51-yard line. A pickup of 11 yards for Mark Tobert.
Well, it's interesting, you know, you look at this BC defense who were victimized 2 weeks ago against Edmonton because they played a lot of man. Now, in this game so far, they've been playing a lot of zone. Danny McManus went for the nice pump fake there, tried to go down the sideline to Eddie Brown. That was covered. But Tobert gets out into the flat on the zone defense against that the Lions are running.
Mark Tobert, a graduate of the University of Alberta, delighted to see that his team is ranked #1 in the nation this week. First down. They give it back off to Eric Blunt, and not much doing.
But now this is what we're talking about on first down production. For the Lions to be successful defensively and send some stunts at a drop-back quarterback in Danny McManus, they need to be second and long.
There's Thomas Rayam, the first-year player with the Eskimos. The Eskimos staying in suburban Vancouver went to a restaurant last night that had an all-you-can-eat buffet, and they brought out a big tray of catfish. Thomas Rayam said, "Just bring that over here." He almost broke the restaurant, they said. McManus up over the top for Eddie Brown. Brown makes the catch, but is out of bounds.
Yeah, that's a good call by the official. Definitely out of bounds.
Talking to Wayne Mandrusiak, the Edmonton Eskimo equipment manager, he said the owner of the restaurant had tears in his eyes when the Eskimos left last night.
Yeah, the smorgasbords are the ones. You see guys like that coming into the smorgasbord, the owners are just going, "Oh my goodness."
Who's that guy? Thomas Rayam is 6'7", 335 pounds. And there's Dwayne Mandrusiak in the background there, the veteran Edmonton Eskimo equipment man. He's saying, "Who are you shooting, me?" What, me? Dwayne, I believe, has 10 Grey Cup rings. One for each finger and both thumbs.
And I've never seen him with so much gel in his hair. He knew we were coming to him on the sideline sometime tonight.
Glenn Harper's punt taken by Ted Alford to the 12-yard line. Alford's got good speed, but he's contained as he gets out to the 22-yard line. And a flag comes down on the play. A 45-yard punt and a return of 9. The Edmonton Eskimos have a 13-3 lead. Back to Vancouver right after this.
Closed captioning of this CFL telecast is brought to you by Subway. Try Subway's great tasting classic Italian BMT.
Play just underway in Vancouver. The give goes off to Corey Philpott on first down, and Philpott is tripped up on the play by Reggie Pleasant, who quickly jumps in. A flag is down. There was one on the punt return as well. It was illegal block BC, the reason the Lions are backed up to their own 8.
Well, the flag was thrown way back in the defensive secondary of the Edmonton Eskimos. Obviously, the back judge caught a holding for BC.
Now the Lions are really backed up. Talking it over with captains Larry Ruck and Willie Pless. Pless in his 11th year, Ruck in his 12th.
Holding, BC 77. First down repeated.
Mike Trevathan is called for holding downfield. The Lions are backed up to their own 3-yard line, and Trevathan looks perturbed.
Well, that's just to sell the official for the next time he might be in a questionable call. Like, what do you mean? He's not going to change their mind this time, but he might get the call the next time.
Now the Lions really backed up. Here comes the rush. Allen under pressure. He's got to get out of the end zone. Did he? No. Safety touch for the Edmonton Eskimos. Jed Roberts gets in there, and Damon Allen never had chance as the Edmonton Eskimos record their 65th quarterback sack of the season. That's 19 more than any other team in the Canadian Football League.
And you know Jed Roberts is pumped up. Going to get a chance to play the defensive line a lot more tonight because of the injury to Singor Mobley. He's going to get a lot more playing time. He's been great on special teams, and he's the guy who cleans up Damon Allen to get that safety.
And I think Pless got in there as well.
Well, they're sending both Pless and Jed Roberts. They both will share this sack. But, you know, it's partially due to the coverage downfield. Damon Allen had no one to throw to.
So Jed Roberts, whose dad played in the Canadian Football League for the Ottawa Rough Riders, makes his way to the sidelines in his 7th year. A special teams specialist, a guy who can play linebacker or defensive line, and a very valuable player for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, he's the all-time Edmonton leader in special teams tackles, has over 100 in his career for Edmonton.
And Willie Pless in there as well for the Edmonton Eskimos. So this defense comes up big again. Think of this, the Edmonton Eskimos have played 15 games this year and have allowed 10 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
In a throwing league, that's phenomenal.
That is amazing. You think about the points that they've given up totally as a team. 5 touchdowns have been offensively. So this Edmonton defense really only averages 14 points a game given up.
The Edmonton Eskimo defense has allowed just 23 touchdowns this year. The kickoff is taken by Henry Williams at the 14-yard line. And the gizmo gets out to the 35 before Maurice Kelly tripped him up. A 61-yard kickoff and a return of 24 yards. So with a 15-3 lead and the football, Danny McManus has a nice comfort zone, as his team did when he left the field against BC 2 weeks ago. Remember, McManus was injured, but he left the field. I think his team was leading, what, 21-0?
Yeah, he had thrown 2 touchdown passes. It looked for like pitch and catch between Danny McManus and Darren Flutie in the first half of that game, and Cody Ledbetter came in, and then he threw a touchdown pass to Darren Flutie in the second half. So they had their way with BC's defense. Now it's a different type of defense they're seeing tonight, but they're having the same success.
On first down, McManus under pressure gets it up over the middle. It's tipped by Darren Flutie, and it falls incomplete. You know, it's funny when you talk about Danny McManus, he set all kinds of passing records at Florida State. When he came to the Canadian Football League, he signed with Winnipeg. You know, and he shows up, he's got a bit of a gun on him. He doesn't run very well. He wears beanies all the time instead of a real hat. Some of the Bomber guys turned to me when they looked at him and said, "Are you kidding me? This guy is a quarterback?" But you know what? Danny McManus wins.
Yeah, he does.
Doesn't do it in a very stylish way, but he wins.
And the guys in the room love him. Good or bad, he's the same emotional level and the same leader that he always is. The guys in the room love him.
Going up over the top, the pass intended for Shalon Baker falls incomplete. And Baker turned defensive back on the play as he had to fight off Reggie Carthon. And Baker did a good job knocking that pass down.
Well, that's 2 plays in a row that Edmonton receivers have done that. Darren Flutie knocks the first pass down, or that one's intercepted by Andre Strode. And then on this play, the ball goes down the sideline, and Reggie Carthon should really have his second interception of the game. He's dropped 2 now. Shalon Baker was the one who pulled that one out there.
Glenn Harper to punt once again, and Ted Alford, the lone man, back deep to receive. 9.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Edmonton leads the game by 12. Good kick by Harper. Alford makes the catch and runs straight out of bounds at the 22-yard line. It's a 53-yard punt for Glenn Harper, and poor field position again awaits the BC offense.
Decisions.
The Edmonton Eskimos defense has held the BC Lions to just 3 points thus far in this game. It should come as no surprise since Edmonton leads the league in almost every defensive category. Just 10 touchdown passes allowed, the fewest net yards. And think about this, when you look at the CFL sack list, Melvin Hunter, Benny Goods, and Leroy Blue of Edmonton occupy 3 of the top 4 spots. Hunter leads with 13. Goods and Blue are 3rd and 4th respectively with 11. Lions start with the ball at their own 22-yard line. Damon Allen up quickly to throw, sees it fall once again incomplete. You heard Les Brown mention it. After the first quarter, the BC Lions look very much out of sync.
They do look flat, and I don't necessarily think I like their offensive schemes. I mean, I talked to Larry Ruck after they lost to Montreal, where Tracy Ham ran in basically a two-back system. Damon Allen, the best running quarterback in the history of the game, is throwing quick hitch passes, not dropping back and seeing lanes developing, giving himself a chance to run the football. Lions have to do that to have success.
Here comes the rush. They set it up for the fullback, Paul Blackwood. Derek Beatty jumps on the football, and it's an interception for the Edmonton Eskimos. Derek Beatty with his third interception of the season. And the Edmonton Eskimos have great field position as the Lions argue that Beatty did not make the catch, and Beatty is shaken up.
Well, I think he made the catch, but he may have fumbled afterwards. He got a bit of a headache because of it.
He takes the ball, not his helmet. How about that? I guess he really wants that ball.
Well, it's his third interception of the year, but I guess he's keeping them all for the trophy case.
Good thing Les Brown didn't do that. His whole house would look like a football factory.
He could have wallpapered his house, Les Brown. Get a good look at Larry Ruck trying to pick up Paul Blackwood coming out. He's the one who delivers the blow, and then Blackwood tips it up. Derek Beatty jumps underneath that tip.
On first down, Eddie Brown has the catch, and Brown down to the 15-yard line. Working in front of Brandon Hamilton has a gain of 12 yards, and the Edmonton Eskimos just seem to be clicking on all cylinders. The CFL playoffs now less than a month away.
Yeah, they're really hitting their stride, and partially due to the play of Danny McManus at quarterback. Eddie Brown's had a solid season throughout the year, of course, the second in the league in receptions, but McManus has been playing better, throwing less interceptions in the second half. We've talked about that, and that's been the key to their success in the last couple of games.
Now McManus has it complete to Shalon Baker, and Baker dives down to the 8-yard line for a pickup of 7 yards. So the Edmonton Eskimos checking out Derek Beatty, who has still not let go of that football, and took a shot to the back of the head. The Edmonton Eskimos can still finish first in the West. They're 4 points behind the Calgary Stampeders entering play today. Calgary plays Toronto on Thanksgiving Monday. If Calgary was to lose that game, Edmonton could then finish first by beating Calgary in the final regular season meeting. But the question would be, do the Eskimos want to finish first? We'll talk more about that in a moment. It's 2nd and 4 for the Eskimos, and now play is called for the moment. They'll reset the 20-second clock. If Edmonton was to finish first, they have the last week of the season off. They would then have a week off
because of the bye,
and then a bye in the playoffs. They wouldn't play for nearly 3 weeks.
Yeah, coaches hate that. Players don't mind a rest up if you're Nick, but coaches hate it.
2nd and 4. Tony Burse, touchdown! Tony Burse with his 5th rushing touchdown of the year goes in from 9 yards out, and the Edmonton Eskimos, who did this to BC last time, are in danger of turning this game into a rout.
Well, they take advantage of the quick turnover, and who better to give it to than the truck, Tony Burse. This guy gets his shoulders low, and he's awful tough to tackle, but great blocks from the right side of that offensive line. Chris Morris holds Dave Chaters down. Tony Burse really doesn't have to run through anybody. It's a clean lane to the end zone.
7th touchdown of the year overall for the fullback, Tony Burse, who has to stay in and block for the point after try from Sean Fleming. This to give Edmonton a 19-point lead, and it is good. With 6:45 to play in the second quarter, the Edmonton Eskimos are all over the BC Lions. 22-3, Edmonton leads. Hugh Campbell is on the sidelines with our David Pratt. And the bad news for Hugh, David, is that Ron Lancaster is 1 win away from tying him for the Edmonton Eskimos all-time lead in wins.
That's what I want to talk to him a little bit about. You're about an hour and a half away from tying that record you've held for a long time. What is the plan at halftime with Ron Lancaster?
Well, we may have to get rid of him if we keep scoring like this. Truthfully, I'm really would be proud to have him surpass it, and I hope that he does, not just for selfish reasons, but because he's one of my best buddies, and nobody deserves more than he does to have some success.
Every year, this Eskimo team wins 10 games or more, always seems to wind up in the Western Final. What is the secret?
Well, we're all pulling the same direction. I think it's a lot easier to tug on something if everybody's pulling the same direction. So we got a bunch of players that have great spirit, maybe the best spirit our defensive team has had in years and years. And the rest of the ball club and the coaches just all seem to keep pulling the same way.
You best of luck for the rest of tonight and the rest of the season.
Well, thanks. I know it'll turn into a heck of a ball game before it's over. It always does.
Well, I hope some of these Lions fans are hoping the same thing happens. Let's get back to Gordo.
All right, thanks very much, David. Yeah, the Edmonton Eskimos 25 straight years in the Canadian Football League playoffs. This will be, if they win another game, which they likely will be their 12th straight year with 10 or more wins.
Yeah, you know what amazes me? The last 23 years, 19 of them, they've been in the Western Final or the Division Final. It was the South and North Final for a couple of years.
That blip year. So Sean Fleming will kick it off again. Danny McManus, I don't know what the plays are on that wrist of his, but they seem to be working pretty well. You can check them all off. 3 plays, 27 yards after the BD interception. Tony Burse goes in from 9 yards out for the score.
Yeah, when you get the ball and only 27 yards to go, you don't need a whole lot of choice in that play selection. It's a big turnover for Edmonton.
Sean Fleming sends it high. This is Philpott from the 20-yard line. Corey Philpott gets hog-tied down to the 34-yard line by the touchdown scorer, Tony Burse, who makes the stop along with Mark Tobert. And Damon Allen brings it on for the BC Lions, who have held the ball for just a minute and a half in the second quarter.
And that is terrible. I mean, that's tough for any defense when you're on the field that much. It's going to start to wear you down, and eventually you're going to give up some points. And Damon Allen has got to sustain some drives, not necessarily even score, just get some momentum back, get some field position back, and sustain some drives. This is a big series for the BC Lions right now.
Injured Edmonton Eskimo on the play. It's Mike Sellers. You know, you heard Hugh Campbell mention it a moment ago. The Edmonton Eskimos very stable, and I would extend that to teams in the West. If you look at the Edmonton Eskimos, the Calgary Stampeders, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, you'll see teams that by and large have very stable rosters and year in and year out put on a consistent product. The question is, why do we still see teams in the league with that mid-season airlift? You think about Ottawa a couple of years ago, they took 6 different team pictures over the course of the season.
And that's the key. Hugh Campbell has figured it out. I mean, the key word, consistency. Consistency in your lineup, consistency in your organization. Make as few changes as you can. You pick your team before training camp. You bring them in. You have your backup guys ready to go, and they're in the system all year. And that's the key to success in football.
And if you look at it, too, I mean, you think about the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they're very much the same way. The Calgary Stampeders don't have players in the mid-season airlift. And Edmonton's highest-paid player makes $100,000. I think you agree in that area, too. Damon Allen with the quick drop, looking for Ted Alford, and look out. Check that, it's Larry Thompson, and Kavis Reed comes up with the stop, and Larry Thompson almost got landed on his head as Ron Lancaster looks on. Ron Lancaster began his CFL head coaching career in Regina and went 4-28 with Saskatchewan in those 2 years. But look at him now, just as the head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos. That's just in Edmonton. He's on the verge of 70 wins. Hugh Campbell lost only 21 regular season games in 7 seasons.
I'd love to hear those two talk about it, too. Like, you know, Hugh Campbell talked about them being buddies, and I'm sure that they get on each other.
Damon Allen under pressure, running, and Allen is dropped at the 40-yard line. Damon Allen's first run after 5 consecutive incompletions. And you saw Hugh Campbell yelling down there on the Edmonton sidelines, as competitive as he's ever been. And I don't know if yelling is going to do much for the BC Lions at this point. Great story about Hugh Campbell. This was told to me by someone in Edmonton. There was a picture that someone sent him that they wanted him to autograph. There was a picture of an official in the background, and Hugh didn't like the official. He signed the picture, but before he mailed it back, he cut out the picture of the official. He cut out the part that the official was in.
Now that's competitive.
That's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Lou Pasaglia, the punt. Flair and Williams are back deep to receive. And a good kick by Pasaglia. This is Williams from the 25-yard line.
Watch out.
Oh, man, he got tackled up around the head by Shelton Quarles. And the gizmo's hot, and he takes a shot at Mark Pimisker. I'll tell you what, Henry Williams is hot for the way he got tackled by Shelton Quarles after a 14-yard return, and there are flags down on the play.
Well, Mark Pimiskern's been leading this Lion team in tackles on special teams, but I don't think it was him that was involved. You talk about Quarles that did the clothesline on the gizmo, and then he got up and just hit the first guy he saw. happened to be Mark Pimsker.
And now Dave Ewell will have to sort this out.
But there was 2 flags before the Gizmo punch.
Major foul, face mask, BC, first down.
And the only one they're calling is the face mask. So it was Quarles, not Pimskern, who collared Henry Williams, and we'll have another look at it.
Well, here you're going to see it. Here comes Shelton Quarles right there, goes right across the top, and that's dangerous. You know, guys can really hurt their necks in that kind of situation.
Well, Pimskern took a late shot at Williams as well.
Gave him a little shove,
away, so
that was the fight. That's where the fight started.
So the Eskimos have the ball at their own 54-yard line. 5 minutes to play in the first half. Here's Eric Blunt on the carry, and Blunt gets around the corner, waiting for a block from Eddie Brown, and actually runs into Eddie Brown as Maurice Kelly makes the stop.
Well, Eddie Brown not known for his blocking. Hey, he's got great speed, but you know, receivers might as well just run off their guys.
Now, receivers get a bad rap for blocking, but who are some of the receivers in the league that are good blockers?
Well, I think Larry Thompson is a pretty tough blocker from the wide receiver position when you talk about guys who can block well. Dave Sapungis in Calgary, I think, does his job when it comes to blocking. And, you know, I could think of others. Let's think of some in the East. Okay. Give me a second.
Second down, quick throw and a quick catch made by Darren Flutie, who has a first down at the 45-yard line. I don't know that Darren Flutie ever makes an unimportant catch. It always seems like it's second down, or you have to score a touchdown.
Well, he's the type of guy too. When it comes to second down or the big play that they need, he'll go in and just quietly mention to the quarterback, "I'll be open."
He told Cody Ledbetter in the last play of that win over Calgary, if you get in trouble, throw it to the goalpost. That's where I'll be. And he was standing right underneath it and made the winning catch for the touchdown. First down, McManus. And that pass knocked down on a solid defensive play by Reggie Carthon. And not to editorialize here, but you know, Reggie Carthon's hot dogging and everything. You're down 22-3.
No, yeah, Reggie Carthon has been playing pretty well. Dave Chaters is going to get hit right at the end of this play. There's the play by Reggie Carthon.
Whoa!
And Dave Chaters going to give Shalon a little push at the end of that one.
Well, you know
away
what?
With it.
It's Dave Chaters' birthday. He's 27 today. So he says, hey, you know what? On your birthday, you get a free shot at the guy.
Well, it was free. No penalty flag, so that was his freebie.
McManus. Oh, look out. All kinds of contact there. Shalon Baker gets tied up with Reggie Carthon.
Well, the fans are booing, but I think this may go against Shalon Baker. There was some pushing going on down the sideline between both players, but I thought I saw Shalon Baker with both hands on the jersey of Reggie Carthon.
No, it's maybe against the Lions.
No.
Forward pass interference. BC number 28. First down.
First down, Edmonton to the 27-yard line. Let's have another look.
Well, this has been a battle all game. Here's Shalon Baker. Here's Reggie Carthon. They're just going to go down the sideline. They start the hand fight late in the play. There's the hit, and there's the push. You saw that.
I think it's a good call.
Well, I mean,
Carthon pushed him out of bounds.
Could have gone either way.
No.
Absolutely. Shalon Baker grabbed the back of Carthon's jersey.
Are you still in the Union?
You know, I go for the defensive backs when I have a chance to.
Eric Blunt on the carry gets down to about the 25-yard line, a pickup of a couple. I can't believe that you think that was offensive pass interference.
Okay, he did the initial push, and then Shalon Baker grabs the back of his jersey and throws him down.
Remind me never to have you represent me in court. We've hit the 3-minute warning in the first half. The Edmonton Eskimos with a 22-3 lead. Back with more on the CFL Live right after this. Seventh, and Villeneuve would be the World Formula One champion. What is that she's got there? Golf?
I'm not sure what that was. It was cute, though.
Second down, McManus up for Eddie Brown. He gets clocked and loses the football. Maurice Kelly put the stick on Eddie Brown, and Brown can't hang on.
Yeah, BC played a rotation defense. They brought Tom Europe down low, and Maurice Kelly rolled back to the middle where Tom Europe usually lines up. Eddie Brown didn't realize he was in there. You see 11 dropping back into the middle. Eddie Brown thinks he's home free, and then here comes the hit. There goes the ball to the ground.
Did you see the hit that Earl Winfield took in Saskatchewan?
And walked off.
Oh, Earl's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Earl's a very tough guy. There have been some hellacious hits in the last 3 weeks, and we've seen a couple of them in games that we've done. Holy, Mike Trevathan got hammered in the game we did a couple weeks ago. Sean Fleming with the field goal try. It is good. And Fleming hits from 32 yards out. A fan failed to catch the football, which is why they're booing here in BC. 25-3, Edmonton leads. And while we have a moment, let's send you back to the panel at CFL Control.
Coming up in our Corral halftime, we'll preview the rest of this weekend's action. We'll hear from Marty Les and Obi and get Gordon Glenn's thoughts as well.
Welcome back to BC. Sean Fleming having a laugh with veteran Rod Conop. 2 Vancouver natives on this Edmonton Eskimo team. Conop, a native of Burnaby, as is Sean Fleming, who played his college football at Simon Fraser University, just like Glenn Sewell.
Simon Fraser. Hey, what other guys are out there? Bruce Dixon, Simon Fraser guys. Yeah, 2-2 on the year, by the way.
Yeah, lost to
Simon Fraser.
You lost to Pacific Lutheran, did you? Which bowl are they going to? That's all I want to know. Are they playing Nashville or what? Now we've got a change for the BC Lions. Chris Vargas comes into the game in place of Damon Allen. And Damon Allen, who struggled 1 for 8 passing for 4 yards, is replaced by Chris Vargas. Like Allen, a former Edmonton Eskimo. Second down. Vargas. Look out, he's got Ted Alford, and Alford's got great speed. Alford back to the middle, and Reggie Pleasant saves a touchdown as Ted Alford gets down to the Edmonton 35-yard line. A 39-yard pickup. And we've got an argument down there. Todd Furtick's getting into it, and there's a flag down.
Wow, you're going to see Chris Vargas throw the out pattern. Mountain Frank takes a chance, cut underneath the play, and guesses wrong. The ball's caught by Alfred. He takes off down the sideline. You mentioned it, Gord.
Unnecessary roughness.
Touchdown, save tackle, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Now, they'll make it a first down for the Lions. After the play, Todd Furtick cut down Jed Roberts. So the ball will be spotted at the Edmonton 51-yard line.
A bit of a break for Joe Palpal in that Todd Furtick's penalty didn't cost him that huge first down. It did cost him some yardage. But because it happened after the first down was gained, it was just the yardage that will be against the Lions, and they'll get that first down.
Just their third of the first half. On first down, Vargas up over the middle looking for Trevathan, intercepted by Reggie Pleasant. And Reggie Pleasant has the ball at the 25-yard line after the interception. So just as quickly as the Lions show signs of life,
Joe Palpal cannot believe it.
Reggie Pleasant snuffs it out.
That's the second time in a row that the ball has been thrown to a Lion receiver. The first one was Paul Blackwood. This one is Mike Trevathan. The ball is tipped up, and an Edmonton Eskimos come up with the interception. It's Reggie Pleasant's 48th on his career. Comes from the safety position. He got 47 of them from the corner spot. And he'll take that one. A little bit of a freebie. You get that tip, but you know what? They don't ask how many.
Just how.
Just how you got it. Or not how many.
That's right.
Yeah.
And on first down, the Edmonton Eskimos give it off to Tony Burse. And a pickup of 3. By the way, that was how many interceptions for him? 48?
48.
How many did you have?
I never kept count of my interceptions. Okay, 51.
51? How come you're not in the list?
The book missed me, but
You're not in the book.
The book missed me, but I had 51, if I remember correctly. He's going to catch me.
McManus looking for Shalon Baker there. It falls incomplete. It'll bring up third down for Edmonton. And not much has gone wrong for Danny McManus, with the exception of the fact that in the last month, in 2 of his best games as an Edmonton Eskimo quarterback, he's been chased with injuries.
Yeah, Ron Lancaster, I said, boy, McManus has been playing real well. He's been playing real well, but Lancaster said to me, he goes, yeah, I just want to keep him in games now.
I'm just curious, but you had 51 interceptions? For sure. Because it says here, Don Southern had 58.
No, well,
Don Wilson has 54.
Let me just check.
John White-Raney has 52. And Ed Leard has 51. You're not in there.
No, it's in there. Check the Saskatchewan book.
Flags are down. Ted Alford at the 30-yard line. brings it ahead, and Alford gets tripped up at the 45. Strangely enough, Glenn, I didn't bring my Saskatchewan book to this Edmonton BC game, so I really can't confirm your claim that you had. No, I'm just. No, this is the book.
No,
I mean,
it's got to be in there somewhere. Hang on.
No, just
okay. You know what? I always carry a Saskatchewan book, so let me just get that.
You don't have the Saskatchewan book. I'll guarantee you that. BC was offside. That penalty is declined with 1:33 to go.
Well, I know the guys at the league watch all the games, so I'm sure it'll be in the book next year.
If it happens.
BC 43, penalties declined, first down.
How many consecutive games did you play?
I never count those things.
194. You're in the book for there, 194.
Okay, so I'm in the book that I played, but I just didn't have an interception.
Yeah, exactly. You also hold the CFL record for most equipment worn at one time.
That came late in my career.
You had the little horseshoe bars in your mask.
Can we get back to the game?
Oh, sorry. Chris Vargas remains in a quarterback for the BC Lions with 1:33 to go. They trail 25-3. Vargas from the shotgun. Over the middle, tipped again.
Oh, boy.
And I'll tell you what, Reggie Pleasant might catch you tonight.
I was going to say, if the ball keeps bouncing around like that, he's going to catch me tonight. That's the third straight pass, deflected and up in the air.
Chris Vargas out of Nevada, Reno. A couple weeks ago, we talked about all the great quarterbacks who played in that Big West Conference. Chris Vargas, one of them.
And the reason he's in BC is he was part of that trade early in the year. Glenn Scrivener to Edmonton, who was hurt in the first game for Chris Vargas and Craig Hendrickson.
Second down, low snap to Vargas. Here comes the rush. Vargas looking deep for Larry Thompson. Open has the catch, and Kavis Reed brings him down to the 10, and this time there are no flags.
Well, you know, I got to bring it up because I joke with Larry Thompson. Of course, we were teammates in Saskatchewan, and I'm a friend of Larry Thompson. I joked with him. I said, you know, I made mention of him not having tremendous breakaway speed in the last game, a comment that he was very upset with me about. I said, I just want to see you blow by somebody. Well, I'm sure he'll mention to me after this one that he got in behind a darn good corner in Kavis Reed, and it wasn't a double cut pattern, it was just a straight go route.
57-yard gain, and Damon Allen looks on from the BC bench. 1:09 to play in the first half, and Vargas remains in the shotgun. Swings out of the backfield for Corey Philpott on a pass that almost took his head off.
Well, you know what, though? Chris Vargas had to throw that ball hard. He was basically throwing it away because Willie Pless was closing in on Corey Philpott, and had he floated that one, I'm not so sure that Pless doesn't pick it off.
Well, Corey Philpott said, hey, next time you want to throw it away like that, hit a cheerleader.
Yeah,
be winging it like my head like that.
Throw it up in the stands.
Don't be put it in my face mask like that.
Well, Chris Vargas definitely given it a little bit of a injection of life into this BC Lion team.
How about 2 completions for 96 yards?
Not a bad average.
Vargas down to the end zone. Touchdown! Mike Trevathan. Mike Trevathan with his 8th touchdown catch of the year. And finally, something to cheer about in Vancouver.
Trevathan's first touchdown catch from someone other than Damon Allen, and it's a pick play. Trevathan comes inside, takes advantage of picks by Matt Clark and Larry Thompson on the outside, and comes up with the touchdown.
So Trevathan with the touchdown catch. It's Chris Vargas' first touchdown pass of the year. And Lou Pasaglia puts the point after up and good. This game, which is in danger of slipping away from the BC Lions, is now a 15-point game as they trail 25-10.
Well, first of all, you're going to, on this replay, get a good look at what Mike Trevathan sees as the ball comes right at him as he tries to cut across that middle. And the toughest part about that catch is knowing that you're going to get hit by somebody, because there's a lot of traffic in there. And Mike Trevathan, one of the toughest receivers in the Canadian Football League, doesn't care about taking any kinds of hit. Malcolm Frank hits him low, and he hangs onto that football.
Well, as Ron Lancaster says to his guys, right, you're going to get hit anyway.
Might as well catch it.
Might as well make the catch.
That's right.
And Chris Vargas has reason to smile.
Well, you know, when he was in Edmonton last year, he played about half the season and was a 60% passer. And at 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions for the Eskimos when he played. And so the Lions were very happy to have him as a reliever when they picked him up earlier in the year in that trade.
Now the Lions will kick it off with 56 seconds to go. And now the Lions will just try to avoid a fate that has befallen them so many times, a major mistake in the final minute of the first half. This is Henry Williams from the 19-yard line. And Williams gets out to about the 40. And look at Paul Blackwood try to strip the ball away from him. And Henry Williams has had just about enough of the BC Lions.
Well, there's no love lost. These guys, and you know, it's always on special teams where the fights break out, because the special teams are the wars. That's where the battles happen, the brawls down the field. You get defensive guys playing against defensive guys, and they just are in fist fights. This penalty is going against Edmonton.
Major foul, face mask, Edmonton number 40. First down.
Benny Goods is called for the face mask, and that'll drive the Edmonton Eskimos back to their 24-yard line, and a frustrated Ron Lancaster looks on. Benny Goods might very well be the CFL's Defensive Player of the Year, the man they call the Grinch.
Well, you know, we've talked about that in the last couple of games. Who would be the nominee for the Defensive Player of the Year out of Edmonton? I firmly believe that it's got to come from the front four. They've been so dominant all season. One of those guys has to be nominated, either Melvin Hunter or Benny Goods. Be good choices.
On first down, Eric Blunt has his feet cut out from under him by Maurice Kelly, who's made a lot of tackles on running plays tonight. A pickup of 4 for Blunt with 46 seconds to go in the half. Now the Lions could think about calling a timeout here. Stop the clock. If you stop them on second down, get the ball back in decent field position. But the Lions will let the clock run.
And I think it would have been a good strategy for Joe Paopao to try and do that. I'm not sure why he's just letting this clock run out.
Well, he could do it after this play. Here's Blunt. Well, now quick to the 25-yard line.
Now the whole bench is calling the timeout.
Everyone, even the cheerleaders are calling timeout. And so the clock will stop with 24 seconds left. So Lions will force Edmonton to punt. With any kind of return, BC can take a shot at the end zone. Funny thing about Joe Paopao is he has that pen in his ear all the time. I've never seen him write anything down.
The just-in-case pen.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't. He's forgotten it's up there.
In fact, he probably says, "Where's my pen?"
in fact, when I went out for lunch with him the other day, he had that pen in the same spot.
Who paid, by the way?
I got the bill. I was hoping to send it to the network. Is that?
Yeah. Good luck. All the best.
No shot on that one.
That was deducted from your check. Glenn Harper to punt. Ted Alford is back deep to receive the kick. He's the lone man back for the BC Lions, who are no doubt about to come after the Edmonton Eskimo punter, and giving up block punts has been a problem for Edmonton this season. Here comes the rush. Harper gets it away. A low kick. Alford takes it at the 45-yard line and steps out of bounds at the 47. A 39-yard punt and a return of 15 seconds to play in the first half. Next up for us, Don Southern and the Hamilton Ticats home to Winnipeg, a game the BC Lions would be watching closely if they were to win tonight. And the Lions take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders next week at Taylor Field. It's Glenn Suter homecoming weekend in Regina.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, oh yeah, you and I are going to be in Regina, and you're taking me out for dinner.
Can I send that one to the network?
Absolutely. We're going to go to Golf's, my favorite restaurant in Regina.
Hopefully we don't have to pay after that little plug.
We'll see what I can do for you. First down from the 46-yard line. Vargas up and slinging, and it is almost intercepted again. And that time it was Glenn Rogers Jr. who almost had it. Rogers has 7 interceptions this year, tied with Al Jordan for the league lead. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. No defensive back has ever won the league's Outstanding Defensive Player Award.
And you can see there that pretty good ball hawks for the Edmonton Eskimos. I asked Ron Lancaster about Glenn Rogers' play this year, and he says he gets a lot of his interceptions falling off his man. He's a very crafty defensive back, and he'll leave his man and intercept someone else's pass.
Now Vargas out to the sidelines, gets it up there for Larry Thompson. Thompson gets down to the 47-yard line. 3 seconds to go. The Lions could either try a 55-yard field goal or take one more shot at the end zone. Larry Ruck is injured for Edmonton, slow to get up.
Well, Singor Mobley already out of the lineup for the Edmonton Eskimos. Maurice Miller had replaced him. Edmonton does not want to see Larry Rucko.
Ooh, look at this. Unnecessary roughness against Edmonton. A 15-yard penalty for the Lions. And this will move them into field goal range.
That's a penalty that should give the BC Lions some points, and Ron Lancaster is livid.
So now they'll try a 39-yard field goal, and Ron Lancaster livid. Pasanglia has a chance now to bring the Lions within 12. Julio Caravana to hold. Pasanglia hit the upright.
It's a dead ball.
Wow. You can stand there 100 times and not hit the upright. So Pasanglia misses, the Lions get nothing, and the Edmonton Eskimos have things go pretty much their own way in the first half. Touchdowns by Eddie Brown and Tony Burse.
You know, when I used to hold for Dave Ridgway, I used to tell him, I said, if he ever hit the upright like this in a practice, I say, I'll buy you dinner if you can do it again. Never happened.
Well, you buying dinner?
No, that he hit it again. I mean, and most of the time when the ball hits the upright, it bounces in. It caroms in towards the upright. So, some more bad luck for BC.
No members bounce for Lou Pasanglia, who's been here long enough. He probably deserves one. Edmonton with a 15-point lead. Stand by now for our CFL Live halftime show.
CFL Live at the half. Brought to you by Corel, world leader in CD-ROM technology.
Welcome to our Corral halftime show. Remember at the end of the first quarter when I was talking about Damon Allen, he had the second best completion ratio in the Canadian Football League at 61.8%? Forget it.
No, he's getting out of it now.
No, Damon has been struggling offensively, but Joe goes and makes a move. He brings in Chris Vargas, and it's effective. They start moving the football, and unfortunately didn't get Louis 3. Otherwise, it could have made this a real close football game, or at least narrowed the gap substantially.
Well, if they play like they were at the end of the half there with Vargas at quarterback, at least they've gotten into some rhythm and they're moving the ball. And the one thing about making a quarterback change, whenever you make it, whether it's at halftime or late in the second quarter, you can always bring your starter back if you have to. So they were so lethargic in that first half with Damon that, you know, I thought what they might do is go into halftime and tell Damon to go to a no-huddle offense to try and pick up the offense. But Vargas has picked it up, so hopefully this will make them be that much better the second half.
You know, I really found it a shock that they would change their starting quarterback so quickly. You know, and then at one point, though, and Damon was running the ball, he happened to walk off to the sideline. You could see Joe Pawpaw walk over and say something to him, and there was no eye contact. It just looked like they were kind of arguing silently. And then the next series, he was gone.
I think frustration.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, evidently frustration on the sidelines between the two. I don't know if they are battling. It's not going to.
One's calling the plays and one's running the plays, and things just aren't happening for him right now. So they made a switch, and they're going to stick with it now.
I wasn't surprised by the switch at all, because I thought Vargas, in fact, would have come in, not only this game, I thought he was going to come in when they last played, because Damon has been a boon for the CFL for more than a decade, but he's an enigmatic guy. The game plan was for Damon Allen to run the ball a bit. He has to do that. He didn't do it. As simple as that. He ignored the game plan, and Joe yanked him.
You know, one thing that I noticed when Vargas was in there compared to Damon in the first half, Chris Vargas was throwing the ball to the wideouts. Damon did seem to ignore his wideouts when they started out the ballgame.
And one thing I noticed is that the whole team picked itself up a bit when Damon left the game for some reason. I don't know if they felt... A lot of players feel like it's my fault that this quarterback is getting yanked, so I got to pick it up a bit, you know, and then the second team quarterback comes in, he looks great.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Still with the BC Lions, earlier this week, the commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Larry Smith, was out in Vancouver. He was talking about the possibility of there being an owner in place for this franchise. Marty, what's going on?
Would you believe Donald Trump? No, I'm just kidding. Donald Trump was rumored for a little while as the guy who's this mystery owner, but he's not the guy. He's not the guy. What's going on? Larry Smith has told the fans in BC that he needs to see 15,000 season ticket subscriptions for the Lions, and this mystery owner will come on board. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know why he wouldn't name the source, you know. I just see
the owner.
The owner, yeah, because it would help out season ticket drive if that people knew who was going to be the owner and backing him.
I think he's been talking to Marty. He just said it's a source.
Who knows exactly?
Don't divulge who it is, Larry.
You know what? The commissioner should be a little more forthright, though. But I can understand a trepidation from a prospective buyer's point, saying, "Okay, you show me with some season ticket sales, and then maybe I'll throw my hat into the ring." Maybe that is the scenario out in British Columbia. We do know that we're going to take a short break here. You're watching the CFL live on TSN. There's still more to come in our Corral halftime show. Stay tuned. And here are your QB1 standings so far. Remember, with TSN, you're always live and interactive. Now, in the West Division, the Edmonton Eskimos and the Calgary Stampeders have already clinched playoff berths. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have yet to do so, but the Bombers are in action this weekend. Tomorrow, Winnipeg will take on Saskatchewan. The Bombers, with a 7-7 record, Robert Mims leads the CFL with 1,183 yards rushing. He's had an outstanding season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who enter the football game at 4-11. Also tomorrow, the Montreal Alouettes are on the road. They're in our nation's capital. The Als, with just one win on the road so far this year, they have clinched a playoff spot, but could still finish second or third in the East Division. And on Monday, Toronto is in Calgary. This is shaping up to be a huge battle between Jeff Garcia and Doug Flutie. Toronto, 12-2 on the season. The Calgary Stampeders, 11-4. And gentlemen, as we start a discussion, let's start with the best game this weekend. It is the Stamps. It is the Argos. Obi, who wins?
This game, last time they played in Toronto, it was a one-point game, as we all know, and the two teams are so evenly matched. They've got great personnel for both clubs. But I kind of think that Calgary at home may have the advantage in this game myself. But, you know, a one-point game, either team can win.
Bob, you know what? I like Toronto, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I've been taking shots at Doug Flutie all year, and they were frivolous shots. The fact of the matter is he's the best player in the CFL, and he's the best player in CFL history. And he is so determined to come back and make an impression in Calgary that he's told the Calgary media he intends to treat this game like it's a playoff game.
Whoa. Did you just say what you said about Doug Flutie, that you said that your shots earlier were frivolous and he's the best player in the Canadian?
Yeah, I mean,
Did he threaten to sue or what?
No, I mean, I make these comments in jest. I mean, you take shots at the good players, and this guy is the best player in the league. I mean, let's face it. And the fact of the matter is, he's going into Calgary, and he's determined not only to treat this game like a playoff game and make amends, or get some revenge, let's say, for what Calgary did with him, but also I think it's important to note that he needs 140 yards to surpass Conrad Holloway's record as the all-time Argo passing quarterback, which he set, what, in 83. So he's really determined, and if he's that determined, you know for sure they're going to make a game of this.
If you guys remember the game last time these two teams met, Calgary's defense had really put it on Toronto and was stopping them. And then Jimmy the Jet Cunningham electrified everything. Mm-hmm. Well, he's not playing tomorrow, Monday, and that could be the difference in this game. I don't believe I'm picking a special teams player, but Jimmy the Jet really made a difference in that game.
So you're taking Calgary?
Well, you know, they're at home, and the Jets not playing, and I think that they have a chance, but I don't know. I can't really go with Calgary because Toronto seems to be the team to beat right now.
Right. So you're going to go with Toronto?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Obi, you're going with Calgary.
Yeah, I think I will.
Marty?
Because I think they got more of a reason to win the football game. Toronto's pretty well locked things up already in the East.
And Marty, who are you going to pick? You're going to go with Flutie and the Toronto
Yeah, he's the best player in
Argonauts.
CFL history. I'm going with Toronto. But I'll say this. I say they have trouble in Edmonton next week, and I think Edmonton beats Toronto next week.
You know what? It's going to be an outstanding football game, and as we've known before, my opinion doesn't count, so I will not give it to you gentlemen at this particular point in time. Now, it's a busy night in the National Hockey League. Also, some baseball news to bring you up with. Here is Brendan Connor as we go into the TSN newsroom. Make sure you stay tuned to the Sports Network. Our next CFL game comes to you Friday, October the 18th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Ticats home to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That could have huge implications out in the Eastern Division. For their thoughts in the first half, let's return to BC Place Stadium. Here is Gord Miller and Glenn Suter. Gentlemen?
Well, Darren, thank you very much. It's a game the BC Lions have to win, and it's a game the BC Lions aren't winning. Here is why. We'll show you the numbers through the first half of play in this football game, and They're brought to you by Subway, and they tell a very simple story. Time of possession, the Lions have had the ball for just 11 minutes. They've turned the ball over twice, and they have 126 yards passing. Damon Allen left the game 1 for 8, replaced by Chris Vargas. A good move, Glenn?
Yeah, I think it was a good move because it has injected some enthusiasm into this offense for the BC Lions, and I like what Chris Vargas is doing. He's throwing the football down the field, standing in the pocket, taking that hit, but he's throwing the ball down the field. No more of these little hitch passes.
The Lions are 0-6 this year when they trail at the half. The difference in this second half is between playing for the playoffs and playing out the string. Back with more in the second half, and we might show you an airborne Lion when we come back. There he is, Leo. It's not that bad. Don't worry about it. .25-10 lead on the BC Lions on a big day of sports in Vancouver. Coming up in just over an hour's time, the Vancouver Canucks face off against the St. Louis Blues right across the street. And a lot of fans here going to both games.
Yeah, and there's no one in my hockey pool in either of those teams, so I'm not going.
Well, you are a true fan, aren't you? Sean Fleming sends it deep. This is Corey Philpott standing at the 10. And reverse. Gives it to Robert Davis. Davis turning the corner, waiting for a block. Gets pushed back inside and gets out to the 40-yard line. Now the question is, who do the Lions bring out at quarterback? Allen's got his helmet on, but Chris Vargas comes out for BC. So Allen obviously needed the extra protection at halftime.
What it was is Allen, that's the disguise. See, keep both quarterbacks go out after the half, have their helmets on. The defense not really sure who's going to come out. Well, they know now.
Kind of like when Harold Ballard asked Roger Nielsen to come out with a paper bag over his head. He was brought back as the coach of the Leafs.
45! Get out, man! 45!
From the 39-yard line, Vargas gives it off to Philpott, and Corey Philpott ran smack into Larry Ruck, Benny Goods, and Willie Pless.
Well, that's how you fill from the linebacker position. Larry Ruck in the middle linebacker, former All-Star. He came up there and filled that hole perfectly.
Brings up second and long, and now the Edmonton Eskimos can pin back their ears and come after their former teammate. And here they come. Vargas, lots of time, has a man, and Matt Clark has the catch across midfield to the 54-yard line. Derek Beatty makes the stop. Matt Clark with a gain of 14 yards.
Well, it was a great read by Chris Vargas because Reggie Pleasant had come down low from the safety position and wasn't in the middle. That's why Matt Clark got open running on Derek Beatty. He just dragged across the middle right where Reggie Pleasant had left. Vargas picked up, made the good read, and delivered the football.
Lions make a rare trip into Edmonton territory. Barely. And Corey Philpott advances the ball. Look out. He ran into Larry Ruck and ran 3 yards backwards. It was like Popeye and Bluto before the spinach. He was just running in place.
Wait a minute. Popeye and Bluto before the spinach.
Popeye used to run into Bluto. Before he'd take the spinach, he'd just spin his wheels and not go anywhere. But then after he hit the spinach,
and then
he'd give Bluto the right hand, and Bluto would go into orbit.
Well, Ruck's been eating the spinach
for about 12 years.
What a career Larry Ruck has had.
Corey Philpott now 5 carries for 40 yards. You like my Popeye analogy?
No, that's good.
I'll just leave that one.
My daughter will like it.
Vargas up over the middle and almost intercepted by Glenn Rogers. That would have been his 8th of the season. And Vargas got crushed at the end of that play.
Melvin Hunter provided the pressure on Chris Vargas, made him throw it a little bit before he wanted to, and the ball kind of got away on him. He overstrided when he took his step to deliver the football, and it went high. Here comes the big step. You see Hunter, and when you got like that's bearing down on you, you tend to try and get rid of the ball when you don't want to, and the overthrow goes right through Glenn Rogers' hands.
Lipasagna back to I saw Louis this morning just walking around the field for about 20 minutes. I said, what are you doing? He says, well, when you're my age, you don't run to warm up. You just walk along. He's punting it. Don Blair and Gizmo Williams back to receive. This is Gizmo from the 5. And Williams tripped up neatly on a solid special teams play made by Trevor Shaw. A 43-yard punt, a return of 8. CFL Live returns to the stadium at BC Place in a moment. Welcome back to Vancouver. the Edmonton Eskimos have a 25-10 lead on the BC Lions as Melvin Hunter and company look on. The CFL sack leader. And Melvin Hunter captured live in the first half. Well, he does just about everything for this Edmonton team. Stuffs the run, makes big plays on defense, and that stand-up end position means that he's guaranteed to get a lot of attention from anybody who wants to be effective with the offense. And Hunter there got to Damon Allen very quickly, and of course Damon Allen dropped for a safety in that first half. Part of the big plays turned in by the Edmonton Eskimo defense.
Melvin Hunter in this game has had to play a little linebacker as well. I mean, up to this point in the season, Melvin Hunter has just chased quarterbacks. Now he's dropping and covering receivers too.
On first down, Danny McManus looking up over the top. 3 guys there for the Lions, and none of them come away with the football. Mark Tolbert was surrounded by 3 guys, David Mava, Reggie Carthon, and Maurice Kelly.
Well, that was a ball that Danny McManus should not have thrown. I mean, you talk about quarterbacks sometimes making a mistake and throwing into double coverage. Well, this was triple coverage. There they are, David Mava. See Reggie Carthon back there, and there is Maurice Kelly. Someone should have called that one.
Or the infield fly rule should have been called. McManus on second down. And McManus quickly finds Shalon Baker, and Baker makes the catch in front of Brandon Hamilton for what should be an Edmonton first down, but there's a flag down at the 5-yard line.
Back in the either late hit on the quarterback or holding zone.
And I would almost bet it's holding.
Holding. Edmonton number 67. Second down.
Rod,
no way. Can't be. He's played in 54 games.
Tied with Dave Cutler for the most all-time for Edmonton. The next time he plays a game, he'll become Edmonton's all-time leader. And at the end of the year, Rod Conniff will tie Lloyd Fairbanks for 6th on the CFL's all-time games played list. There are only 3 position players who have played more than he has. Lloyd Fairbanks, Ron Lancaster, and Roger Alday. Now, I mean, excluding kickers.
Yeah. Well,
nothing against kickers. I got nothing against kickers, but Robert Davis is the injured BC Lion.
No, nothing against him. I mean, Dave Cutler was a pretty tough kicker. I mean, he was one of those guys who maybe run down and make a tackle or 2, but he doesn't get hit every play. Rod Conniff does. And he's a 6-time All-Canadian as well, so he's done it pretty well for all those games.
One of 4 BC natives on this Edmonton Eskimo team, and the province of British Columbia has actually been pretty good to the Edmonton Eskimos over the years. You think about in the early 70s, BC cut a quarterback, and he called Edmonton and said, do you think you can give me a tryout? They said, well, okay, if you want to, you can, but we don't think you'll make the team. But Tom Wilkinson did, and won 5 Grey Cups with the Edmonton Eskimos. And on this current team for Edmonton, here's the connection. Conniff, Fleming, and Groenwegen are BC natives. Groenwegen, McCready, Pless, Flutie, and McManus are all ex-Lions, and Bruce Dixon is a graduate of
Simon Fraser University, who are now 2-2 on the season, and this year did win the Shrum Bowl versus UBC, which is the crosstown rival here in Vancouver.
Although they lost to, was it Portland Lutheran, or was that Colorado School of Mines, or was that the Montana School of Trees? I can't remember.
Look, there's Rod Conniff.
Holding is the call against Edmonton, so the Eskimos are backed up to their own 6. McManus looking for Eddie Brown, and Brown was looking for pass interference to be called against Reggie Carthon, but then takes responsibility maybe for running the wrong route.
Well, he zigged when he should have zagged, or
zagged when he should have zigged.
So McManus thought he was throwing it down the sideline, thought that Eddie Brown would stay straight in his pattern, and Eddie Brown broke it off and came across the middle. Ed Cousy number 56 right here, does a pretty nice job of picking up the blitz from David Mieve. You see 21 coming up top. He slides across, picks up the blitz nicely, and gives Danny McManus a chance to throw the ball. He just threw it to the wrong spot.
Harper to punt, almost blocked. In fact, he might have got a piece of it. And a great play made by Hamilton. Flags down everywhere. And Hamilton touchdown. Every official, I believe, has thrown his flag. Brandon Hamilton's in the end zone. This should stand, though.
Yeah, I believe it's going to stand. I mean, it's got to be a no yards call. Brandon Hamilton caught that ball in the air.
And the touchdown return for a touchdown. And the Lions are right back in this game. Reggie Carthon was the man who got in to get a piece of the football on Glenn Harper. And we talked about it the first half. Getting punch blocked has been a problem for Edmonton all season long.
Well, Edmonton will block man up there, and obviously someone didn't pick up his man. We'll take a look at it after the kick, but big play for BC.
Lou Pasaglia puts the point after up and good. And the BC Lions, who trailed by 22 at one point, have cut the lead to 8. Reggie Carthon, who probably should have a couple of interceptions in this football game, has a big block punt to get the Lions back in it.
You're going to catch, there he is, 28 coming off the corner. Sometimes punt protection, you just let that outside guy go, but Reggie Carthon showed good speed, got a piece of that one, and then Brandon Hamilton catches it in the air, does a nice job of keeping his balance, and Glenn Harper's not going to tackle him. That's a touchdown.
And now the Lions kick it off with new life. This is Henry Williams. And Williams gets out to about the 36-yard line. A 16-yard return. Maurice Kelly and Paul Blackwood get down to make the stop. Now the BC Lions will try to stop Danny McManus and company and pull still closer. This is a team that has not yet won a game when trailing at the half. The Lions have, however, led in 13 of the 14 games they've played this year.
Yeah, that's when they look back and start to think about things that may have been.
They've lost 5 games, Glenn, sorry, in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, some people here in BC think that they should have 9 wins on the season, right in the hunt of that playoff picture.
Toss to Eric Blunt. Blunt gets around the corner, and Maurice Kelly forces him out of bounds at the 39-yard line. The gain is 3. So the Lions get what they want defensively, 2nd and long.
Real nice lead block by Tony Burrs to lead Eric Blunt around the corner, and that's what springs him for the yardage. Eric Blunt has the great speed to get outside. He just needs 1 or 2 blocks on that containment. Burrs provided it on that play.
2nd and long for the Eskimos, who have seen momentum slip away from them in the opening moments of the 3rd quarter. McManus in the shotgun. Lots of time, has Eddie Brown. Brown has the catch. It has a first down up to the Edmonton 54-yard line. And Brown with a gain of 15 yards.
Danny McManus did a nice job of not letting his eyes dictate to where he was throwing the football. When defensive backs are reading the quarterback, they'll look to his eyes. Where is he looking when he delivers the ball? That time, McManus, when he delivered the pass, was looking right at Mark Tobert. And then he threw it out there to Eddie Brown. Surprised the BC defense.
On first down, this is Eric Blunt vaulting up and over, and Eric Blunt gets inside BC territory down to the 44-yard line. And Blunt with another first down for the Edmonton Eskimos, a pickup of 12. He is now 38 yards away from 1,000 on the season.
Now, what impresses me most about Eric Blunt is his quick feet. I mean, a lot of players have good speed, good tailbacks have good speed and hit the hole hard, but he has tremendous quickness in his feet.
First down, McManus, quick drop. Oh, look out. Shalon Baker got whacked. I mean, jumping in there quickly was Brandon Hamilton, who made the stop very quickly for the BC Lions. And Hamilton celebrates. Irony in this game, both players wearing number 29 are named Hamilton. Brandon Hamilton, number 29 for BC, and Jay Hamilton, number 29 for Edmonton.
It's interesting.
And I think Brandon Hamilton, as we mentioned earlier in the year, is the only player in the league who has the name of 2 Canadian cities. Brandon Hamilton. Second down, quick throw, incomplete. Looking there for Mark Tobert. And the BC Lions defense able to hold the Edmonton Eskimos will come on and try a field goal.
Well, Edmonton did what they wanted to do, though. That's to regain some of the momentum, move the ball, put a couple first downs together, and then try and come away with some points. They've done 2/3 of it. Now they just have to get Sean Fleming to hit this one so they can come away with the points and get some of that momentum back on their sideline.
And Fleming will try this from 47 yards out. this to give the Edmonton Eskimos an 11-point lead. Fleming puts it up, and good. Sean Fleming's season continues as he has been very good kicking field goals. The Edmonton Eskimos, on Fleming's third, have a 28-17 lead on the BC Lions. While we have a moment, let's go downstairs to David Pratt.
What's going on with Robert Davis there? Some good news medically for the Lions. What happened during the play is that somebody rolled over his leg. They've iced it down. They don't think it's serious, and they do expect him to get back in the lineup probably sometime early in the fourth quarter. Gordo?
Thanks very much, David.
Well, it'll take him to the fourth quarter to tape up that foot again.
No kidding.
It's mandatory on every team to tape your ankles. Every team that I've ever heard, yeah, mandatory that you have to tape your ankles. And I don't know that there's a team out there that doesn't have that rule.
Really?
So he's going to have to get that taped up, so it'll take him to the fourth quarter to get back.
Corey Philpott on first down, gets out across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Glenn Rogers Jr. gets up to help make the stop, along with Willie Pless. And a pickup of 7 yards on first down for Corey Philpott, who has to adjust to his new role. But the Lions now, with 7 minutes to play in the third quarter, very much in a football game they must win.
Yeah, and it's been Chris Vargas who's given them that spark. And Corey Philpott's doing his job. You know, he has the best average of the top 5 running backs in the league, just not getting the ball as much.
Second and short. Vargas has it knocked down and almost intercepted by Willie Pless.
Now the BC again, they go back to that quick drop, quick passing game where they're trying to hit the hitch pass or the hot pattern, which is basically just the receiver takes about 4 steps off the line of scrimmage. And you know, I mean, Edmonton recognizes that. They get their hands up. They know they're not going to get the sack here, but look at Willie Pless. Climbs the ladder. He realizes this is a hot pass and jumps up there and bats it away.
Twice. Lou Pasaglia back to punt. Pless stays out there on the Edmonton special teams. And it's a fake. Pasaglia up over the middle for Ronald Williams. Wide open. Williams looking for a block. Henry Williams, the only man who can stop him, forces him out of bounds at the 11-yard line. And Lou Pasaglia, the old quarterback from SFU, pulls one out of the bag of tricks.
Lou Pasaglia on his career is a 55% passer. In his career, he's 16 of 29, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. So, you know that Joe Palpal is not afraid to call the fake. Earlier in the game, Louis Pasaglia threw a pass to Trevor Shaw, but it wasn't a called play.
Wow, a 57-yard gain. The BC Lions have the ball at the Edmonton 11-yard line. Back with more from BC Plays as Louis keeps the drive alive for the Lions. It was back in 1975 that Lou Pasaglia was a quarterback at Simon Fraser University. 21 CFL seasons later, he hooks up for a 57-yard gain that sets the Lions up at the Edmonton 11. Vargas to the end zone, touchdown! Matt Clark! Chris Vargas with the touchdown pass, and the Lions are creeping up on Edmonton.
Well, it's huge when you have a big momentum play like the one Louis Pasaglia provided to capitalize immediately to keep that momentum on your sideline. And Ryan Lancaster sees moved over there on BC sideline right now, thanks to number 5 and then 85 for the touchdown.
And now Pasaglia for the point after to cap off the drive, and he kept going. Pasaglia puts it through, and now with 5:55 to go in the third quarter, the Lions trail by 4.
Well, this is what set it up. Louis Pasaglia on the fake punt, a called design play to Ron Williams. That's the first play. That's the big momentum lifter. Now the BC Lions come out and capitalize immediately. When you see Chris Vargas take the 5-step drop back, look to the front side of the formation and find number 85 coming across the middle, and he hangs on after taking the big hit from Larry Rock.
Chris Vargas with his second touchdown pass of the game, and Matt Clark with his 4th touchdown catch of the year.
Matt Clark hasn't had a whole lot to celebrate this year, not having a great season, but boy, he sure made a big play and an important play for his team right now in a game that they have to win.
Matt Clark, a Canadian, not by birth and not by citizenship, but he lived here from when he was 2 to when he was 7, and that's enough to qualify you as a non-import in the Canadian Football League.
Now, part of the story of Matt Clark is expectation. He, of course, holds the record for receiving yardage by a rookie. He had 1,530 yards in 1991. He's averaged just over 700 yards since that year. But after that first year, expectations are pretty high.
Look out, Henry Williams gets collared downfield. Paul Blackwood makes the stop. It's a 54-yard kick, a return of 20 for the Gizmos. So Chris Vargas comes off the bench and sparks the Lions despite numbers that wouldn't exactly set someone on fire.
Well, I mean, the Lions have got some big plays on special teams. The block kick, there's the scoring drive, the 4 plays, 75 yards, but you had the block kick to set up 1 touchdown. You had the big Louis Pasaglia fake punt to set up the other.
Look at that, just a tinge of gray around the edges.
Bob Cameron has way more gray. I'm telling Bob Cameron, that's it.
McManus rolling out, and he goes right back to Mark Tolbert, who wasn't able to hang on the last time, and that time he makes the catch in front of Brandon Hamilton. A first down to the BC 51-yard line. The Lion defense is known for having ball hawks on it. Tom Europe likes to make interceptions. A lot of these guys are known for having interceptions in other years, but the Lions have just 12 as a team.
Which is last in the Canadian Football League.
That game was 17 yards.
We've seen them drop 3 today.
On first down, Tony Burse wrapped up quickly by David Mava, a gain of 2.
Pretty good job by David Mava. He's actually coming on the blitz on the play and reads the run from Burse. Burse sees him flash in front of him and also all of a sudden hesitates. That allows Mava to make the tackle.
Danny McManus has not thrown an interception in the game thus far. Although, as you mentioned, he's had a couple nearly picked off. Second and 8. Here comes the rush. McManus gets it away. Incomplete. Looking for Shalon Baker.
Well,
Brandon Hamilton there. I thought he got there too soon.
Well, I was going to say, now I went with the DB on this matchup before with Brandon Hamilton and Shalon Baker. But this time, I think Shalon Baker, who didn't argue very vigorously when he hit the turf, may have had an argument. Because Brandon Hamilton was kind of mauling number 5 when he went to the turf there just before the ball arrived, and I think he may have got away with one.
Glenn Harper comes on to punt. Ted Alford is back deep to receive. Harper's last effort was blocked. Low kick, returnable for Alford from the 10. And Alford gets up to the 19-yard line, a 39-yard punt, and a return of 9. 4:07 to play in the third quarter. The BC Lions trail this game by 4, the closest they've been since the opening minutes of the game.
Yeah, they really have worked their way back. All started when number 16 came on. You know, the story with Chris Vargas, earlier in the season when he came on in relief for Andre Ware, who was then the starting quarterback for BC, he came in the game, played against Montreal right here in BC, dropped the first 2 shotgun snaps, and never really saw playing time after that. Maybe the coaching staff a little weary of putting him back in the game. He only threw for 37% so far in the season, but boy, is he playing well tonight.
First down for the Lions from their own 19-yard line. Quick drop, wide field throw to Larry Thompson. And that throw, which covered about 45 yards, nets just 3.
It nets 3 yards and about 4 bruises for 88. Because as soon as he caught that little hitch pass, there was a team meeting for the Edmonton Eskimos right there. And about 8 guys hit him.
They'll mark the gain actually as 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. Low snap to Vargas, who shovels it off for Philpott, who gets away from the tackles and still going.
number 6.
A 42-yard pickup.
I mean, the low snap starts it. Then Vargas gives a bad toss or shovel pass to Corey Philpott, but watch the second effort and then the great speed when he finds the open field. That was second effort all the way by Corey Philpott, who even though is not getting the carries he's got in the past, he's averaging about 8 a game, he still gives you 100% every time he touches a football.
First down for the Lions from the 43-yard line. Lots of time for Vargas, and has a man, Larry Thompson. And Thompson in a foot race gets down to the 10-yard line. Derek Beatty makes the stop. A 32-yard gain for Larry Thompson. Corey Philpott is still down on the BC Lions sideline.
I think when he landed on the sideline, he landed on the football, and they're sort of holding to see if he can get his wind or check his ribs. Well, I'll tell you what, that last throw by Chris Vargas was a strike to Larry Thompson, and because it was to the wide side curl to Larry Thompson, it was about a 55-yard throw on a rope.
First and 10 for the Lions. Ronald Williams on the carry. And Williams gets down to the 6, a pickup of 5. So with Philpott down on the sidelines, Williams comes in, and you can see them attending to Corey Philpott on the BC Lions sideline.
Billy Rochelle is the trainer on the right. That is the Lions trainer, and they're checking out the rib cage of Corey Philpott. Of course, Sean Millington also out of the lineup tonight. The great fullback for the BC Lions has knee problems.
And you know that in this situation, second down inside the 10, they'd be looking at number 25.
That's right.
Second and 6. Vargas. End zone. Touchdown. Mike Trevathan, his second of the game. BC leads for the first time.
When you get on a roll, sometimes you get some breaks. Chris Vargas throws this one to the back of the end zone. It's almost intercepted by Larry Ruck. Just past the outstretched hands of number 47, and Mike Trevathan pulls it off the turf for the big touchdown.
Lions now with a 30-28 lead with the point after to come. Julio Caravana puts it down. Lou Pasaglia puts it through. And the BC Lions, who trailed by 22 points in the first half, now lead this game by 3.
Mike Trevathan, second touchdown. You see Joe Papa, who's all of a sudden has a 2-quarterback system he can think about. Number 9 can run for you, and if 16 plays like he has throughout this football game, Chris Vargas could be your drop back guy. 2 different styles. It's a nice situation to be in.
So Chris Vargas engineers the touchdown drive that comes with Corey Philpott injured on the sidelines. The Lions in the game that they have to win lead for the first time. And Mike Trevathan talking to Robert Holland, a former Edmonton Eskimo defensive back, who may very well be coaching him on how this Edmonton defense is played.
Yeah, if anyone knows it, Robert Holland would know it. You know they've had a few meetings. Mike Trevathan just over there saying, Robert, that's exactly how you explain they play. That's how you told me it'd be in the meetings.
Now Julio Caravana will kick it off as Corey Philpott remains in pain on the BC sideline. Henry Williams from the 15-yard line. Here comes the gizmo out to the 40-yard line, taken down hard by Brandon Hamilton. 31-28, the Lions lead. Here's David Pratt.
Thank you very much, Cordell. I'm with the president of the BC Lions, Mike McArthur, who's got to be feeling a whole lot better about this football club than, say, half an hour ago.
Well, I'll tell you, it looks a lot better than it did, doesn't it, David?
I got to tell you, the comeback has been amazing, and the timing couldn't be much better because this football team does need some help. Earlier this week, the commissioner of the league, Larry Smith, was in town talking to the mystery owner. What more can you tell us now?
Well, he's still a mystery to me. Larry, in our last governor's meeting, brought up a possibility of a high-profile individual in Canada that really cares about the Canadian Football League. And we don't know. I don't know who he is, and I've had other conversations with 5 to 7 other groups of people that are interested in purchasing the Lions or coming in if a high-profile type champion fella comes ahead. And it's a wait-and-see situation
The hook on this is you've got to sell 15,000 season tickets for 97 by December the 15th. Can you do it?
Well, it's a target, you know, and I worked for a guy named George Allen one time, Dave, and he said all things are possible, so we're going to make every attempt to do that. Hopefully the people of British Columbia will rise up and help us in that support.
Well, this is a good start. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks, Dave.
Danny McManus is intercepted by Andre Strode. And Strode is down to the 30-yard line, stopped by Mark Tobert. That comes after a 29-yard gain for Darren Flutie. The first interception of the game is a big one for the BC Lions.
Back-to-back patterns from Darren Flutie to the corner route. The first time Danny McManus hit Flutie on the sideline. But the second pass was behind the intended receiver, and Andre Strode comes up with a pick.
21st interception that Danny McManus has thrown this year. The Lions have the lead, they have the ball, and they have all kinds of momentum. We'll be back with the fourth in a minute. Right now, back to CFL control.
CFL Live at the Quarter, brought to you by Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
So the comeback is complete, at least for now. There's still a quarter to play there, Mr. Montana Man, down at the end. And we'll get to you in a moment or two. When Matt Clark and Mike Trevathan, both out of Montana, got those touchdown passes, Obi's still grinning because of it. Let's start with you, though, Marty, and let's talk a little bit about the Edmonton Eskimos and the BC Lions, specifically the Eskies. Last week they had the lead. They saw it slip away, and here we go again.
Yeah, well, actually, earlier on, Huey Campbell was talking to David Pratt on the sideline, and he said, you know, this game is going to get close. He must know what the Eskimos do at halftime. They probably don't get very psyched up because they collapsed last week in the second half as well. And then Danny McManus goes and throws another one of those patented interceptions of his.
Okay, now let's give Coach his time. Tell us about the Montana guys again.
No, I'm going to tell you what, the guy that was smiling and grinning the most was Coach Pow Pow, not Bob Obilovich. But those guys are great competitors, and the guy that's impressed me is Chris Vargas, because I felt he was instrumental in a lot of those games that Edmonton won last year. And I feel he does have the potential to be a good quarterback. We said that at the beginning of the season, and he's certainly helping them in this game.
There's no question. He
We
looks
were
all
also
world.
talking about Chris maybe knowing those players on the Edmonton team since he's played against them and probably did the practice roster against the first team. He probably knows what guys can be beat inside and what guys can be beat outside. But hey, he's marching them up and down the field. I give all the credit to him for sure.
The difference between Chris Vargas and Damon Allen is that Chris is awake.
Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
this guy changes
Well,
like
Damon,
First it was Doug Flutie that wasn't the
And then
guy.
he said he was an MVP.
Then he didn't like Damon
I'm
Allen.
going to pick Damon Allen as MVP. Now you're jumping all over him.
have I upset you too? What is going on here?
You got to be
Come on.
consistent,
You're as
Marty.
fickle as the Toronto fan.
Well, and enough is enough. The great debate to continue while we return to BC Place for the fourth quarter play. Looks like we're in for a very dramatic finish as we return to Gordon Glen.
Thanks very much, guys. All at once that time.
They go at it.
First down for the Lions after the Strode interception at their own 30-yard line, and Vargas remains in at quarterback. Vargas looking for Clark, almost picked off by Derek Beatty. Derek Beatty almost brought one right back the other way.
Well, Andre Strode makes the big play defensively for the BC Lions. He just falls under this Danny McManus throw that was rushed a little bit because of the pressure from Joe Fleming coming up the middle, but it was a bad throw. Didn't get much on it behind the receiver. Andre Strode picks it off and turns it over for BC.
Second down, Vargas in the shotgun. Flags everywhere.
Vargas prepares himself to be pounded.
Vargas. He saw the whole world coming there.
He saw the flags, heard the whistle, and saw the white flow coming at him and just kind of prepared himself, braced himself.
Illegal procedure. BC number 58. Still second down.
Craig Hendrickson is called for illegal procedure. Former Edmonton Eskimo. And here are the numbers through three quarters. And look at the Lions who've stormed back in the second half. They've made 2 turnovers, but the latest by Edmonton is the first. The interception by Strode that's given the Lions the football. They now have it 2nd and 15 at their 25. Vargas, lots of time, looking for Thompson, and Thompson gets hammered on the play by Reggie Pleasant. And Thompson looks back to the official, looking for a pass interference call. that doesn't count.
Well, Reggie Pleasant on the play had gone to the corner. And Trent Brown was back in the game. And Reggie Pleasant is not a free safety. He's a corner, has been all his career, and he's been a great corner, and that's why. Comes across the top, times it perfectly, and sticks his hand in there.
Luke Masaglia and a punt, we presume. I'm sure Edmonton will be wise to that fake from now on.
By the way, the reason that Pleasant was in there is Camus Reed was a little bit shaken up and was on the bench for Edmonton there, and he's being attended to on the sideline.
Low snap to Masaglia, but he gets the kick away. It's Don Blair from the 40-yard line. Don Blair gets away from the first couple, but gets dropped 47-yard line. Stop is made by Tony Bailey, a 45-yard punt, a return of 7. Edmonton trails by 3.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you in part by Pepsi. Nothing else is a Pepsi. And by Advantage Long Distance Services, providing solutions for business.
31-28 BC leads Edmonton as Mark Pimiskern looks on after once again playing a major role on special teams.
Yeah, he's leading the BC Lions and covering kicks and making those special teams tackles, and Gizmo Williams kind of lowers his head. Pimiskern gets a shot at Blair and then keeps working and actually gets back in on that tackle later on. You know, I always tell this, I've told this story before, but I have to repeat it. Mark Pimiskern also snaps to Louis Masaglia on punts and field goals. When Louis was a rookie, Mark Pimiskern was 1 year old. I love that story.
Yeah, you do. From the 47-yard line, the give goes off to Eric Blunt, who crosses the 50 and gets out to the 53-yard line. And they'll mark it as a gain of 5. Eric Blunt now 33 yards away from 1,000 on the season for the Edmonton Eskimos. And by the way, while we mentioned it, of course, it's an 18-game schedule now, but the Edmonton Eskimos are tonight playing their 16th game of the year. 1,000 yards in 16 games is the accomplishment by which most backs were measured when you and I grew up watching the CFL. McManus throws that wide side out, and Darren Flutie makes the catch on Strode and goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line. The last time they hooked up, it was Strode who picked it off.
Now, you know, the game is becoming, it's getting to that crucial point in the football game. And who do you think is going to become more involved in this Edmonton offense as the game becomes more important, more crucial as the time ticks down? Of course, number 82 is, and he's been the intended receiver the last 3 Danny McManus passes.
First down for the Eskimos from the 40-yard line. Draw play to Blunt, and that went nowhere from the start. Tyrone Rogers got in there very quickly to make the stop for the BC Lions.
Yeah, a bit of a team effort for BC there. Tyrone Rogers up the middle, provided the pressure. And then coming off the corner was Kelly Sims on a halfback blitz. That provided the containment. Blunt had nowhere to go.
12 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. The BC Lions with a 3-point lead on the Edmonton Eskimos, who led by as much as 22 in the first half. From the shotgun, McManus under pressure, looking for Eddie Brown. It is intercepted. Picked off by Brandon Hamilton at the 10-yard line. Second interception thrown by McManus. Brandon Hamilton snuffs out the Edmonton drive. The Lions have the lead and the ball. Brandon Hamilton with his 5th interception of the year, and it's a big one for the Lions.
Here he is right here, and he's covering right.
Oh my goodness, what happened there? Train wreck.
I'll fix that pencil and get right back to it. Brandon Hamilton drops off on Eddie Brown, and what an athletic move right there. Goes back against the grain, goes up high and pulls that one down at the high point. And that helps out when you get a little pressure from the front four, and Dave Chaters made Danny McManus pay for that throw in a couple ways. The pick and the hit.
You know, your kids draw well, but that's the last time we let them use the telestrator. First down from the 11-yard line. The give goes off to Corey Philpott back in the football game, and Philpott spills out across the 15-yard line. to about the 16 for a pickup of 6.
Well, the good news if you're a BC Lions fans is that when you're playing against this Edmonton defense, the running game very important. BC's approaching 100 yards rushing on the evening. And any time that Edmonton has given up defensively 100 yards or more, they've lost. There you see.
You are just a stats maniac, right?
Well, you made me that way.
Not my fault. Second down. Vargas looking deep, wide open. Larry Thompson, the pass is 5 yards over his head. I mean, Thompson was capital W wide open.
Yeah, it was a bust. Bust in the Edmonton secondary. Camus Reed is on the bench. Reggie Pleasant is playing the corner, working with Derek Beattie. They both jumped the short guy. See 85 Matt Clark? They both jumped that guy. Larry Thompson wide open, and Vargas can't get him the ball. I think he's a little disappointed. You don't get many opportunities where your guy is that wide open.
And Luke Pasaglia will be forced to punt. 10:50 to play in the fourth quarter in what's turned out to be a very good football game. Almost blocked. Pasaglia gets a great kick away. Gizmo from the 45. And Maurice Kelly wraps him up quickly with the help of Trevor Shaw. A 48-yard punt by Pasaglia and a return of 8 as Eddie Brown and the Edmonton offense return to the field. It seems like 3 weeks ago that Eddie Brown scored that first half touchdown for Edmonton.
Yeah, we just saw a bust that Larry Thompson got in behind. It was a bust that allowed Eddie Brown to get in behind the Lions secondary early.
I'll tell you what, you put up 100-yard games against Toronto and Calgary, you're doing something. No offense to Ottawa, but
I was going to say, what does that say for Ottawa, who are playing well?
That Ottawa defense is very good, by the way, and played Calgary very tough last week. First down for the Eskimos at midfield. McManus gets it out there for Eric Blunt. Blunt's got a first down and then some, out of bounds at the BC 37-yard line.
Tom Europe
flag has come down on the play in the defensive backfield.
Tom Europe came up and had to cover Blunt coming out of the backfield, and he got way too far inside.
Unnecessary roughness, BC 74. After the play, first down.
The birthday boy, Dave Chaters, is called for unnecessary roughness. Tack on 15 to the gain of 19, and it's a 34-yard play for Edmonton.
Chaters, of course, hit Danny McManus when he threw that interception in the series before, but that time took one too many steps.
Chaters, former Ottawa Rough Rider, brought here by Dave Ritchie.
3 sacks on the year, his best season.
First down, Edmonton. The Eskimos at the BC 22. McManus looking to the end zone to Baker. No catch. He was working there on Reggie Carzon, and that battle continues.
Well, it was a pretty good move by Shalon Baker to try and come up with that pass. We talked about some bad throws Danny McManus had. We got to give him credit here. He threw that ball in the perfect spot because it was pretty good coverage down the field by Hamilton. Ball was thrown outside. Shalon Baker had to make a spectacular catch as he turned the opposite way. Almost brings it down.
Big defensive play now for the Lions. Second down, Edmonton. McManus looking for Flutie. It's picked up. And look out! Kelly Sims could go a long way. Sims gets to the Edmonton 50-yard line. The touchdown is saved by the man who has thrown his third interception, Danny McManus. And it's a 56-yard return.
You know, talked about some good throws and bad throws. This goes in the bad category. Way too high for Darren Flutie. He goes up, tries to bring it down, but when that ball is deflected, and we've seen a couple of them in this game tonight go both ways, then there's 3 or 4 defensive backs behind you that have a crack at it, and it's Kelly Sims that gets the gift and takes off down the sideline. When you throw a pick, you got to make the tackle. Danny McManus doesn't dare, saves a touchdown.
First down, BC at the Edmonton 50-yard line. Vargas in the shotgun. Wants a bunch. It has Matt Clark, and Clark gets down to the 32-yard line, but there's a flag in the BC offensive backfield. You know, I talked to David Archer about this year. There ought to be a statistical category for passes that are tipped and then intercepted.
I agree with you when it's
BC number 58. First down repeat.
Hendrickson is called for holding, so the Lions will move back across midfield.
Gord, I agree with you when there's a ball that is thrown to a receiver that's a catchable football, but I don't think Darren Flutie had much of a chance to really legitimately catch that ball. It was high and outside. He went up and it deflected up.
I still think any time a ball is tipped in the air, that should not count as a true interception against the quarterback. The defensive backs still get credit.
Yeah, but you also think that the guy who scores the touchdown should kick the extra point. So
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if you should be on the rules committee.
No question. Draw play on first down. Corey Philpott gets close to the original line of scrimmage, a gain of 9 as he gets back into Edmonton territory at the 51-yard line. Absolutely, I think that. And I also think that once you ice the puck 3 times in one period, the next one should be a delay of game penalty.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. Speed up the game a little bit. Corey Philpott, of course, had the rib problems in the third quarter, but he is back. Good news for the BC Lions and their fans. He's having a pretty good game tonight.
9 carries for 103 yards for Corey Philpott tonight as he takes a breather on the sidelines. On 2nd and 11, here comes the rush. Vargas gets it away high, looking for Ted Alford. It'll bring up 3rd down, and Chris Vargas was in danger of getting his head taken off by Maurice Miller and Willie Pless. Now, let's go back and have a look at this, because I mean, the old line is if you can touch it, you can catch it, right?
Well,
I don't know if this is Danny McManus's fault.
I mean, look at this ball. You really
but if Flutie doesn't tip it, it's not an interception. It falls incomplete.
It's tough to say, but that didn't look to me like it was a catchable football. Flutie went way up and barely got a hand on it. The deflection helped Sims come up with the pick, no question about it, but I mean, it's got to be catchable.
Lou Pasaglia at a punt. Off the side of his foot. And it bounces out of bounds at the 19-yard line. No return for Henry Williams, so Louis will take it. The BC Lions have a 3-point lead with 7:36 to play. Well, Ron Lancaster looked home and cooled out for his 70th win as Edmonton's head coach, but all of a sudden in the second half, things have kind of gotten out of control. There's the advantage game story. Damon Allen was 1 for 8 when he was lifted for Chris Vargas, who was thrown 3 touchdown passes. The Lions were down by 22, but Danny McManus has thrown 3 interceptions in the second half that allowed BC to get back in the game.
And what that doesn't show also is a couple of big special teams play. Block punt for a touchdown and a Louis Pasaglia fake that were huge for the BC Lions.
Yeah, 57-yard gain on the Pasaglia fake. First down Edmonton. McManus from the shotgun. Swings it out for Eric Blunt. Virgil Robertson had a shot. Holds him up long enough for Brandon Hamilton to come over and make the tackle, a gain of 4. Coming up on 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Edmonton Eskimos need to get it done here.
Well, here's a good matchup. Rod Conop on Dave Jaders, right in the trenches. Battle that's been going on all game. The CFL veteran wins that war, but it's been pretty much of a draw throughout this game. Jaders made some plays too.
McManus has Eddie Brown. Brown has a first down up to the Edmonton 35-yard line. Tom Europe put the hit on him, along with Brandon Hamilton, who's had an active night for the BC Lions.
Well, Tom Europe's played a bunch of different positions for BC, and I showed him a depth chart about 2 days ago and said, asked him about his health, and he circled his name and put it down in the line of scrimmage. He says, I don't play back in the middle where most safeties play. I play up in the line of scrimmage, in the box, they call it, and there he is, number 13 to the right of your screen, right up in the box again.
McManus gets it for Eddie Brown. Brown's got some room to run. Finally forced out of bounds by Hamilton and Maurice Kelly. Another first down for the Edmonton Eskimos.
It's interesting that Edmonton's offense, right now they're not panicking. Momentum definitely with BC, but Danny McManus, who's thrown 3 interceptions now, staying with his game plan, working the short game to Eric Blunt, working the quick outs and ins to Eddie Brown, not panicking. Danny McManus is not a panicky kind of guy, is he?
If you put one of those heart rate monitors on Danny McManus and looked at it after a game, you'd wonder if he played a football game or went for a walk in the park.
You'd have to keep checking it looks like sometimes.
First down, McManus for Shalon Baker, tips it up, and it falls incomplete. Andre Strode lurking dangerously, looking for his second interception of the game.
Boy, that ball has been a hot potato tonight.
Danny McManus was like, knock it down, down.
If you can't catch it, just leave it alone, because seen BC Lions get a couple of interceptions on tip balls. McManus has one tipped and been intercepted, and that one was very nearly intercepted by Andre Strode. You can't catch it. Leave it alone.
Second down, Edmonton. The Eskimos at their own 52-yard line. 5.5 minutes to play. McManus, lots of time. Has Darren Flutie, and Darren Flutie has a first down to the BC 39-yard line.
A good scheme by the Edmonton Eskimos. Darren Flutie was the third receiver in the trips. He was in the middle of the formation. Trips means 3 receivers to one side of the field. A real good scheme for the Edmonton Eskimos, and you can see he's one of the former BC Lions. 1994 had his big season, 1,700 yards receiving.
Well, we were laughing about how competitive the Flutie brothers are. We talked about them in the opening of the telecast. You can just see Darren and Doug in the old folks' home playing shuffleboard, you know, and Darren makes like an unbelievable play on the second last play, and then Doug tries to pull it out of the last play, and the whole place is watching.
That's what I wonder how they go. You know, they have a band.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, how did they decide who was the lead singer? I mean, they must have been competing over that, too. Must be trouble when they get the band together.
The band together. Dave Chaters injured today on his birthday today, so Glenn, we got to do a little mathematics here on Dave Chaters.
Yeah, we got to fix this. If I can work my pen, hang on, let me. Okay, he's actually. It's not working, man. Hang on, there he is. There he is.
20.
He's 20. There it is. There it is. He's 27.
Good.
I'll just finish it. Oh, forget it.
Good. That's great.
This thing, man. This thing is not working. Leaf never has this trouble.
You know what? Never happens to Leaf. I was just going to say, first down for the Edmonton Eskimos from the BC 38. McManus. Pump fake, looking deep for Flutie in the end zone. Intercepted. Flags are down. Hamilton's going to bring it out. Another flag comes down, and Hamilton goes at the 14-yard line. Shalon Baker made the stop. I think there's going to be pass interference in the end zone.
Wow, I think that Tom Europe is going to get the penalty.
The game's on the line. This could decide. Danny McManus is laughing.
Forward pass interference. BC number 13. First down.
Europe is called for pass interference.
Well, you be the judge. Tom Europe is going to come over from the safety position and help out. Now he's running with Darren Flutie in the post pattern. Does he touch him? Is it interference?
Absolutely not.
Terrible call by the officials, and the fans here in BC Place just saw the replay on the big screen, and they're letting the officials know how bad a call that really was.
It's unintentional, so the ball goes to the BC 28-yard line, but it negates the interception.
That is a huge play, and it was a terrible call by the official.
First down, flags are down. Blunt gets down to the 25-yard line. Tom Europe was a victim of a call earlier this year in Winnipeg. He was called for pass interference in the end zone. That led to Winnipeg kicking the game-winning field goal. And the Lions sent that tape to the league and felt that Europe got a bad call.
Well, there'll be a few copies of this play going to the league.
Offside, BC number 3. First down repeated.
Kelly Sims is called for offside, so it's 1st and 5. How many times can the BC Lions surrender the winning points in the final 5 minutes?
Well, I don't know if I would give Edmonton the win just yet.
No, I'm just saying.
On the door, yeah.
I mean, Leo the Lion may jump off the building. Never mind that platform. Fumble! Danny McManus lost the snap. And Edmonton able to get it back. Edmonton has given up the ball just 8 times on fumbles this year. Did Thomas Rayam get that back? If he was lying on the ball, it might be flat.
They better get a new one. If Thomas Rayam is on the ball, they better get a new one. 335 pounds. Little safety blitz there by Tom Europe.
I think he did.
Yeah, he fell on it. They better get a new one. There's definitely less air in it.
Second down, McManus for Eddie Brown. Brown throws a couple of moves and gets dropped at the 17-yard line. He'll be very close to a first down. In fact, where they're marking it, he likely has it. Reggie Carzon made the stop. Eddie Brown over 100 yards receiving on the night for the 5th time this year.
The speed guy. Average catch of just about 20 yards every catch. That is amazing. That stat just tells you what a guy does after he grabs the football, and Eddie Brown can take off and burn you in a hurry.
We've reached the 3-minute warning in Vancouver. The Lions have the lead, but the Eskimos have the ball and a first down. Back right after this. Coming up in about an hour, the Japanese Grand Prix, the last race of the year. Jacques Villeneuve has the pole and a chance to win the World Championship if he wins and Damon Hill doesn't finish in the points. And to salute the big guy, got my Formula One checkered flag. You like that?
That's nice. Did you get your hair cut and they gave you that afterwards?
Oh, look at that. Hey, what's with this one? You lose a bet or what? Holy smokes.
You get a bowl of soup with that tie or what?
Holy smokes. Well, here at BC Place, we've seen a much better football game than we might have expected. It was 25-3 in the first half of the game, but the BC Lions have roared back in the second. Now a big defensive stand for them. The Eskimos have the ball 1st and 10 at the BC 17-yard line.
Well, you know what? If Hamilton were to lose all their games and BC were to win their remaining games, their season or playoff would come down to that one pass interference call.
McManus looking to the end zone. Flutie can't make the catch. Flags are down. Andre Strode was there on the coverage. The flag is on the other side of the field.
If this one's against the Lions, Joe Kaukow may hurt somebody. Andre Strode make a great play because Flutie had him beat. He got his hand in there. Looks like this will go against Edmonton.
And I think the Lions would then decline it.
Illegal procedure. Edmonton number 4. Penalties declined. Second down.
Eddie Brown jumps with 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and that 5 yards wouldn't give them any field position advantage. In other words, it'd still be well within Sean Fleming's range for a field goal. So put Edmonton in 2nd and 10, decline the penalty.
2nd down. McManus. Bad time, but got hit at the last moment by Tyrone Rogers. The pass ball's incomplete. Fleming will come on for a field goal to try to tie the game.
I'll tell you what, Danny McManus wanted to go to the backside to Eddie Brown. Eddie Brown was being double-teamed by David Mieva and the corner, who was Reggie Carthon on the play. There at the top of your screen. He goes backside trying to find Eddie Brown, but he can't. He's double covered, and Tyrone Rogers gets enough time because of that double coverage and comes up and hits McManus square in the back.
Sean Fleming will try a 24-yard field goal. He has not missed inside the 30 this year. And Fleming puts it through. 2:34 to play, and this game is tied at 31. By the way, should the Edmonton Eskimos lose this football game today, the Calgary Stampeders can clinch first place in the West with either a win or a tie in their remaining games.
There's an injured BC Lion on the field, and I can't pick up his number. 20-something, looked like either Reggie Carthon or Brandon Hamilton. Carthon, I believe. Get the word, there it is, 28. Reggie Carthon, they're checking out his knee.
Those two corners have had a busy night for the BC Lions.
Played well, both of them, both involved in the big block punt for a touchdown in the 3rd quarter.
Maybe a cramp. And he might have been hurt trying to block the field goal.
He's right up here on the top of the line, and he lays out to try and block the field goal, and I think when he extended, he may have caught a cramp in that calf. You see him
he went down before he dove.
Kind of stumbled there and turned around and grabbed the calf muscle right afterwards.
He blew a tire before he dove.
He was the one who got a piece of that punt, and then Brandon Hamilton, of course, caught it and scored the touchdown for BC.
Well, the BC Lions have a tie football game on their hands that they must win. They've got 2.5 minutes to play and the football. Next week, Winnipeg and Hamilton, a crucial game for both those teams. Comes your way from Iverwood Stadium in Hamilton, Friday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time.
BC will be watching that game, and whoever loses they'll be cheering for it from that point on to lose the rest of the game.
If they win tonight.
That's right.
Vargas from the shotgun. Lots of time for Vargas. He's got a man wide open. Mike Trevathan can't make the catch. Trevathan might have turned the wrong way and is now arguing that he was interfered with.
There's a flag back in the backfield.
Oh,
Trevathan better be careful, because he might have a penalty in the backfield roughing the passer, and they may lose it.
Trevathan doesn't see there's a flag back there. Is it holding or is it roughing the passer?
BC number 19. Penalties decline. Second down.
Blackwood's called for holding, and the penalty is declined. Well, Trevathan got spun around, and it's going to be interesting to see what exactly happened.
Well, Trevathan's running on Reggie Pleasant, trying to get to the corner, and see Pleasant not only impedes him to get there, but also almost trips him up, and you cannot do that. Now, defensive back can protect his ground and hit the receiver if the receiver is in front of him. But as soon as he turns to the side, like Reggie Pleasant did there, you can't make contact. He did and got away with it.
Now on second down, Vargas over the middle for Matt Clark. Caught up at the 50. But you know what happened there? Mike Trevathan played without a chin strap. It came off his helmet, so he just ran his route, and he threw the chin strap out as he ran his route. I don't think you can do that. Now there's another flag down as well. We'll see what happens.
If he gets a penalty for not playing with a chin strap.
Well, he had it in his hand.
Yeah.
As he ran the route, he threw it downfield.
Well, see,
Watch Trevathan, his chin strap is in his hand.
Oh, did he throw it at Reggie Pleasant, or did he throw it at the ground? Because if he threw it at Pleasant, then that could be a penalty.
Here's the call. I'm not sure what you call that. Unnecessary throwing of your own equipment at another guy.
That sounds good to me. Not good to that guy. Good to that guy.
I think I actually followed that.
Well, excessive ejection of conduct.
Yep.
BC number 77, ejected from the game.
He threw it at the
10-yard penalty.
Mike Trevathan has been ejected from the football game. Joe Palpa just read his lips. Is that a first down? His top receiver has been kicked out of the game.
This is where the chin strap is in Mike Trevathan's hand, right there. Now, see, he throws that right at the official.
Or did he throw it down?
I think he was looking to throw it at the official. That's what they think, and that's why he's out of the game.
So Mike Trevathan will be forced to leave the field as objectionable conduct against the Lions.
I mean, that chin strap may not have hit the official, but it looked to me like he deliberately tried to throw it at him. I mean, that's why he would be thrown out. He's trying to tell them that, you know, look, I just threw it on the ground. I did not throw it at the official.
Wow. I watched Trevathan after he argued with the official, and he had his chin strap in his hand because it wouldn't go back on his helmet. I thought, what are you going to do with that? Throwing to the official was not what he had in mind. Trevathan is forced to leave the field, ejected from the football game. He's talking to Glenn Johnson there.
Well, you know, it all starts the play before. Mike Trevathan's mad about the interference call that wasn't made by Reggie Pleasant, throws his helmet on the ground. Now, when he does that, all the parts of that helmet come apart. He loses his ear pads, he loses the chin strap. By the time he gets back to the huddle after arguing with the official, he hasn't got all the equipment back on. He's still mad at the official. Then he comes out of the huddle with the chin strap in his hand and throws it at the official. Any way you look at it, a dumb penalty to take from Mike Trevathan, and there's no other way to describe that play. He lost his cool, and it hurt his team.
So you're saying the BC Lions playoffs hopes could be dashed by a chin strap. 2nd and 20 for the Lions. Vargas up over the top, looking for Ted Alford, who ran around Malcolm Frank, and now Alford wants pass interference and won't get it. And Alford's really hot, and he better watch it.
Well, he's got his helmet in his hand.
Wow.
Malcolm Frank kind of bumped him out of it. I don't know. I didn't see really any interference on that play by Malcolm Frank. A little bit of bumping going down the sideline, but
all this in a game tied at 31, where the Lions will have to punt. By the way, coming up immediately following the game, TSN Sports Desk getting you set for the big Formula One race tonight, along with all the Saturday Night Hockey highlights. Bisaglia with the kick. This is Don Blair from the 50. And Blair gets up to midfield. 2:05 to play in the fourth quarter. The Edmonton Eskimos have the ball. A couple of first downs, and they'll be in Sean Fleming's field goal range.
well, you mean, you look back on a season for the BC Lions, and Danny McManus has a chance to bring this ball down now at midfield and win it when he really probably shouldn't have. It's been all BC in the second half, and now Joe Paopao, because of a stupid penalty that really ended a drive, a key drive in a tie ball game, could see his playoff hopes disappear.
Well, I'd like to talk to Mike Trevate then and see what was going on there, what he was trying to do. The give goes to Eric Blunt. He is wrapped up quickly. Shelton Quarles got there. David Meva finished it off. Loss of a yard on the play.
Well, it was a good play by Shelton Quarles, but you know, when things like that happen, it's surprising that Quarles comes up with a big play, because usually it really brings your team down. I remember being in Saskatchewan when Tyrone Jones got about 3 penalties in a row similar to that, just yelling at officials. He brought the defense down. We lost the football game. It hasn't done that to BC.
Second down. McManus to the sideline. Shalon Baker has the catch. First down at the BC 41. It would be a 48-yard field goal try. A 14-yard pickup. There's 1:39 to play, so they're already inside Fleming's range.
What a catch by Shalon Baker. Reggie Carthon cannot cover this play any better. He's right in the hip pocket, grabs a little bit there. Shalon Baker fights him off and still comes up with a huge catch.
On first down, McManus gives it off to Tony Burse. And Burse gets a couple down to the 39-yard line.
Well, Sean Fleming going to be obviously warming up on the sideline. He's going to have, right now, it would be a 47-yard field goal attempt if Edmonton can't advance the ball anymore in this series.
Fleming has not missed tonight.
Clock's running.
Edmonton quite content to let that clock run down. If it's not McLaughlin, then Sean Fleming's the most accurate kicker in the league. McManus, lots of time. Shalon Baker has the catch. And Baker gets down to the 29-yard line. I'm not sure who that pass was to. Darren Flutie and Shalon Baker were standing right beside each other. And they're talking it over.
Yeah, there's a passing tree, and they were both on the same branch on that play, because they were both in the same pop bottle, as they used to say, but it works out for the Edmonton Eskimos as Shalon Baker alertly realizes the ball is in flight and just makes the adjustment.
The gain was 12. Well, miscommunication in the backfield, and Burse is wrapped up quickly and thrown down by Kelly, Quarles, and Sims, and Burse is hurt. A loss of a couple, and it appears to be his left wrist.
Wow, there was a problem at the handoff point with Danny McManus and Burse. This is near the end of the play. Kelly Sims is going to see Shelton Quarles come in late and jump on top of the pile, and I think this is where Tony Burse gets hurt as he goes down to the ground. He's had shoulder problems, missed a few games because of that, and the way he's leaning over and has that elbow in there, this could be a shoulder problem again. He hasn't left the game, and the trainers haven't had to come out, so he can stay in and play.
Now comes second down and 12. McManus gives it off to Burse. Burse goes straight ahead and gets down to the 25-yard line. It'll bring up third down with 27 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. The gain was 4. And the clock will start running.
Well, they'll use the whole 20 seconds.
No question. And the Lions had used their timeout in the previous play.
They may even take the penalty here.
They might take the penalty, although that takes what would be a 33-yard try and makes it a 38-yard try. Fleming's just going to stay on the sidelines, and now Edmonton will call the timeout. Stop the clock and send the field goal unit out. So good play by Edmonton.
Nice job.
So they don't take the penalty, they take the timeout.
Now, BC will likely, just before Fleming gets ready and lined up, will call their timeout. Now, did they still have their timeout?
No, they used it 2 plays ago.
Okay.
So they won't do that.
They won't do that then. That would be a bad call when they don't have one.
Sean Fleming is 5 for 5 in the football game tonight. On the season, he's 26 of 29. This field goal try will come from the 34-yard line. Inside the 40 this year, he's 13 of 14. And the BC Lions playoff hopes quite likely ride on this kick. Fleming puts it out. And misses it to the right. Philpott's got to bring it out. Philpott's going to kick it out. Now, the BC Lions should be careful not to touch the ball. A flag is down. No time left on the clock.
The Edmonton Eskimos may get one more kick here. The game cannot end on a penalty, and that was no yards by BC on the kick-in and kick-out situation. You have got to give 5 yards.
That's a punt.
Yeah, it's ruled as a punt, and I'm not sure which BC Lion it was, but I believe it may have been Brandon Hamilton that grabbed that punt off the first bounce, did not give 5 yards. It's going to be a penalty, and it'll give Edmonton another opportunity to kick the game-winning field goal.
They should get another.
I mean, BC has lost on the last play before, but how about the last play twice? The play after the last play. Here we go.
No yards. BC 29. First down.
Unbelievable. So Edmonton gets the ball back. It's first down. They'll mark off the penalty.
Here comes the punt from Corey Philpott. Now, Brandon Hamilton does not make any attempt. I mean, he goes up there like it's the game down south and tries to down the football.
Joe Paopao must feel sick to his stomach.
He cannot believe that.
Tony Paopao, his brother.
His brother.
Don't touch the ball.
He just said, you cannot touch the ball.
Well, now, the penalty, it's 15 yards. It's not even the unintentional variety. Moves the ball down to the 15-yard line. It's a 22-yard try for Sean Fleming. He has not missed inside the 30 this year. Although he just missed a second ago. Fleming for the win. Puts it through the Edmonton Eskimos on the final play of the game in a controversial finish. Win it by a final score of 34-31.
The Lions cannot believe it. They're lying on the field. I have never seen a game lost like that ever.
Eliminated from the playoffs, they lose 34-31 on the play after the last play of the game.
What do you say? What does Joe Paopao say to this team?
Next time you kick it out of the end zone, don't touch the ball.
Yeah, I guess so.
David Mava can scarcely believe it. And to be honest with you,
I can't either.
No kidding. Back with more right after this. Time now for the Radically Canadian Players of the Game, brought to you by Corel. In a game where the BC Lions battled back in the second half and his defense played well, Tom Europe is the player of the game and may be wondering about the pass interference call against him in the end zone. The offensive player of the game, not much doubt about it, the man who kicked the game-winning field goal and 5 before it. Sean Fleming with 6 threes, and the Edmonton Eskimos win it 34-31. The BC Lions are out of the playoffs, and the Edmonton Eskimos are 10-6. Let's send you back to the studio.
Thanks very much, Gord. What an absolutely horrific way to lose a football game. Coach, you've had a lot of American players come up from the United States and play for you. Specifically, have you ever told them, this is what we're going to do? If you got to kick the ball out of the end zone, don't touch the football. Who does the onus fall upon?
Well,
you think Brandon just forgotten that particular play?
Well, the thing that's surprising is he's been in the league for 3 years as a player, but whether or not he's been in that situation or actually seen it happen, the thing that kind of surprised me in that situation is that it didn't look like BC had their kickback team in the end zone to kick the ball out to preserve the tie. And although I don't know if it made any difference, the guy did a great job getting it out of the end zone. The player should have stayed away from the ball. And whether or not he was coached up before
Coach,
the
it would have
play,
made a difference. You know that it would have made a difference because Louis Pasaglia would have been the guy in the middle of that field catching the ball and then kicking it out on an angle. It would have made a difference if the kickback team was on the field.
Well, exactly. and when you coach that situation, when there's the time that was left remaining, meaning once I catch it, the time's going to be out, you tell your guy kicking it out to kick it out of bounds so there's no threat of a return or them getting something like that.
Look, we'd be remiss if we finish this broadcast without talking about Mike Trevathan. Now, I've sat here all season and listened to Les, you talk about what a great competitive teammate Mike Trevathan is. And Bob, you've said over and over that he's a great player to have. You coached him, you brought him to the league. But let's face it, what he did by throwing his chin strap and abusing an official, right at the official, was pure nonsense. It was ridiculous, and it's an abusive official. Now, I'm not saying it's Roberto Alomar all over again, but you know what? It's close. It's something that shouldn't be done. And Mike Trevathan hurt his team badly by doing that.
I don't think you can draw the parallel between Mike Trevathan and what he did this evening.
Well, you might not, but I'm going to, because anytime you abuse an official, then you've done something wrong.
Actually, you have done something wrong, but there's only so much that a very competitive player can take. And at one point, we saw Eddie Brown make a long catch, right? Run down the field, grab the face mask of a BC defender, and no penalty call. Then the interference call in the end zone, that changed the game. That's the turning point right here. If they have a turning point, that would be the turning point.
But you cannot justify doing something like that to an official.
Look at this. Is there an interference call here and all? They called it on number 13, Tom Yorp, who turned around, ran by the guy, never touched him at all, and there we go. Please, all referees of the CFL, please take pass interference 101, and then at the end of the year, I'll teach it if you want.
Yes, errors are part of the game. Officials make them just like receivers drop ball and Danny McManus throws interceptions, okay? You don't abuse an official like that, period. You can't justify no matter how many mistakes you make.
Marty, you're right about that. The thing that I was trying to see on that replay is that I don't know if he was throwing that chin strap at Reggie Pleasant or the official.
He was throwing it right at the official. Absolutely at the official.
I'd like to know that.
Yeah, because you can't believe your boy would have done that.
That's right.
But he did.
Wouldn't have.
But he did. And I hope he's suspended for it, and I hope the league acts accordingly.
Well, I'm sure that the league will be taking a look at this. There's no way in the world that you condone what Mike Trevathan did on the football field. And the Edmonton Eskimos are victorious this evening. As unusual as it was, we'll return in a moment.